Don't be stupid, boys. Turn off Clyde, support your side.
I've had opportunities to move, good opportunities to move, moves that would have been better financially to me. But I've got ties here, I've got ties that I've got my home here, my family prefer to be here. But the most important tie here is that I like to be manager of Celtic, and I like the people I'm working with. It's as simple and straightforward as that. I like the players I'm working with. The directors I work with are very good as well, so I've got no complaints. And the most important thing is, I like the people who support us. I like to see them getting a bit of success.
Here I go, still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young, but my mind is very old. So what do you say?
Football without fans is nothing. It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch it, it becomes nothing. Give an average game with a big crowd, excitement, atmosphere. This makes it a great game. The fans are the lifeblood of the game.
Half the world away. I've been lost, I've been found, but I don't feel bad.
Good day, good evening, good afternoon and good morning to wherever you are in the world. You're listening to the Half the World Away Celtic podcast on Hail Hail Media. You're listening to the voice of Kevin O'Neill. Welcome to everyone that's tuning in. Hopefully there's a few of you listening in live. If not, you're downloading it to listen to later on. But we're joined on the show tonight, the Where's Josh show tonight, with our regular and my compadre, the other half of the Monklands Mafia, Mr. Pat Close. G'day, Pat.
G-Day, Kevin. G-Day.
G-Day to you, sir. How are you this weather?
Oh, I'm panicking, buddy. I've got the controls tonight for the first time ever, so there's a bit of nerves over this side of the country. Yeah. I hope the levels are alright, because this could all go tits up very, very quickly, so... Stick in with us, everyone.
All will become clear, folks. All will become clear. Now, Pat's already sworn tonight, so this might have to go down as explicit straight away before we go any further. But no, it's a family show, Pat. Family show. Swearing is only allowed the odd occasion and when necessary, and when speaking about Sevconians, etc.
So is that a 3-match ban? Is it?
Absolutely not, but we'll come on to that later on, Pat. We couldn't do without you for a 3-match ban. So yeah, Pat is pushing the buttons for us tonight, everyone. So let's wish Pat the best of luck, and hopefully it all runs as smoothly as it does with our good friend from Barrowstown S, Mr. Josh Gaffney. Now, Josh is not joining us tonight. The show is called Where's Josh? He's bottled it as far as I'm concerned. He is showing up as he's online on Skype, but I think he's got a new internet service provider or some other technical thing, and he's using this as his excuse why he's not joining us on the show tonight in Oz, or midday, I believe it is, back in Scotland. So this is me putting a bit of pressure on to Josh that if he is actually listening in, we'll maybe get a little Skype from Josh later on, but we'll see how that goes. So yes, Pat's pushing the buttons for us tonight, but we are joined on the show tonight by another good friend on Twitter, I believe. I do follow you, Tony. I don't think I've ever spoken to you before.
You've just spoiled who it is, Kev. You spoiled it. You might build it up.
We've got Mr. Tony Cassidy on the show tonight as well, folks. So, good day, Tony.
Good day, lads. It's lovely to talk to you.
And it's good to talk to you as well, Tony. Tony, this is your first time on the show, so if you don't mind, would you mind if you just give us a little bit of a rundown on your passion for Celtic, etc.
Aye, sure, Kevin, sure. Basically, I'm just a normal guy off the street, not different really to many other folk. I just I've been a Celtic fan all my life since my dad was a Celtic fan as well. So he's a few years gone now, my dad, but he used to watch all the old fellas playing, Nearly Mocking and all these kind of guys, I was living in Abu Dhabi for a few years recently. I was on the Lost Boys, I think it was podcast 6 or something, way back in the 4th century with Chris and Jerry and that, and then recently I've been back in the UK working for different companies. I'm a civil engineer, and I think I started going up to Lennoxtown about 2010.
Yep.
I came across an interview with Joe McHugh of Video Celts.
Yep.
I think it was conducted by Eddie on the Celtic Underground. And so when I went up there, I just thought, well, it'd be lovely to get along and just find out a bit more about it. I hadn't been back in the UK for a few years, so I thought, well, when I'm back here now, just get stuck in and see what's going on. And so I went along to Lennoxtown. I met Joe, and he gave me the lowdown as to what he does. And then over time, I just got to know different ones. But basically, as I say before, I'm just a guy off the street who's enthusiastic and keen about the club and hoping for the club to develop over time and bring through the young kids and all that kind of thing. So
excellent.
That's basically me,
Good on you, Tony. No, thanks for that. And I think I know there's quite a few of us follow you on Twitter and things like that as well. What is your Twitter handle, Tony? Just give a little shout out for that, mate, if you want a few more followers.
No problem. It's at Tony Cassidy 123. It's fairly simple. Usually, if I go along to some of the games, I maybe post a video or just maybe link to some upcoming matches or talk about some of the tournaments that the young lads are playing or getting involved in,
Great.
And if there's any developments, whatever. And one of the best things about it has been if there's any if you spot any young player anywhere in the world, just let us know, and we'll pass that information straight into the heart of the club. And so we'll be, instead of just being a sort of a passive family, a Celtic family, we can also be active in bringing in young kids and young players to the club. Who never knows, it might be like Tony Watt and putting the ball past Valdez on occasion, So that would suit plenty.
It's the social media equivalent of expanding the Celtic scouting network, basically. That's what we're saying, yeah?
That's what we're saying, Kevin. Yep, it's a good idea. Sounds good to me. Keep it simple and let's get it done,
I don't know why nobody's thought on this before. We're on to something here, Tony, right enough. Well, yeah, Tony's given you out his Twitter handle there, so please do follow Tony. He's got some insightful stuff there. Also, you can tweet us in if you are listening in live tonight. The Twitter for the show is at halftheworld88. So please feel free to send in any tweets, any comments at all, or anything you'd like us to maybe have a little chat about on the show, on this particular pod. And you can Skype us in as well. The Skype address, and I'll try to get this right, Pat. Keep me right if I'm not right. But it's
kind of get it wrong. It's the same.
It's half the world away, 88.
No, isn't it? It's not half the world away. You're a tool, seriously. What school did you go to in Coatbridge, by the way? What school was it? St Pat's, Columba?
Well, it's half the world 88, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So what school did you go to? Was it St Pat's? Was it?
It was St Pat's. It was one of the best schools.
That's typical.
It was one of the best schools. Oh, well, sorry, it was the best school in the Monklands, mate.
I don't think so. That's what
it's been razed to the ground.
Aye, and rightfully so. I think you know why. Because don't listen to people. That was the Dumbo's school in Monklands. So that's where the stupid people went. So. Yeah, can't even read. Jesus, unbelievable. Anyway,
well, do you know what? I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do this now for that abuse. The reason I get confused here very easily is because when it shows up on Skype, it does read half the world away. But yes, it's obviously half the world 88. So let's just clarify that, folks. Right, okay, enough of this nonsense. Let's try to start talking about some things related to Celtic, and I'd like to start tonight by, I guess, talking about the Scottish Cup semi-final, which seems quite a little while ago now. Last weekend we we followed up the Hibs on the Saturday, who had quite an entertaining game to the neutral, I suppose. They came from behind, 3 goals behind, I believe. Ended up 3-3 at full time, and they went on to win in extra time 4-3. Now, who'd have thought the very next day that we'd be involved in our game against Dundee United, and the very same scoreline, I guess, that happened. So, if I come to you first of all, Pat, did you catch the game? Because that's always a key question.
Yeah, I did. I went up and joined, for the first half I did, went up and joined the guys at the Jockstein Self Sports Club here, so drove up there and spent 20 minutes going around the block trying to find a parking spot, but anyway, that was another story. Got in there with about 4 minutes gone in the game, so yeah, I missed the first goal. So I was a bit pissed off with that, and because I know a couple of bouncers at the door, and they were winding me up going in saying, it's 1-0 already. I thought they were winding me up, but nah, true enough. Walked in to much hilarity of my friends that were sitting there already watching the goal. So, but yeah, I kind of watched the first half there. I was working cracking on the next day, so I just rushed home for the second half at home. But that was a cracking game. I thought it was very exciting. It was edge of the seat stuff. But some people have been a little bit critical about, is it a bad reflection or a bad, image for Scottish football? The fact it was. I don't know, just like there's so many goals or so many, people would say mistakes, but when I spoke to people at work, they were not so much raving about it. A couple of them had seen goals and thinking, bloody hell, 14 goals in 2 semi-finals, how can it get any better? Yep. So for anybody out there who thinks it's a bad reflection on Scottish football, not from the people I spoke to, from the neutrals at work, they thought it was an amazing thing to see. So but I mean, we'll talk a bit more about the game and stuff like that, and the team formation, all that sort of stuff. But as a game as a whole, I thought it was a pretty exciting kind of game. Yeah. Nerve-wracking at the end. I mean, if we win 4-3 every week, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, you'd want to be guaranteed that before the kick-off, wouldn't you? I don't think you'd want to be put through the mill like that during the game and see what happens. But
no. I mean, it is as open a game as I've seen for a long time. So let's face it. But.
And Tony, yourself, I mean, I take it you caught the game. What were your own thoughts on it and how it went?
I watched it, Kevin. I mean, we're just delighted to get through into the final, I think they were saying in commentary something like, I think that was Neil's 9th game at Hampden or something. He maybe won about 5 of them or whatever it was. But I'm just glad to get through into the final and see how that game goes. A tricky wee match against Hibs, but I was just delighted that Victor got that goal back very quickly. Yes. I thought at 2-1 we were, here we go again, but thankfully we managed to overcome that. Hampden's a difficult stadium to play because it's obviously so far back from the pitch, that kind of thing, It was built under the watch of Jim Farry when he was at the SFA, so I don't know, maybe he's to blame. He probably oversaw the plans and agreed to them to go ahead. But to have the fans so far back from the pitch, it's a wee bit tricky. Yeah. I'm sort of the opinion that I would like to have Gary Parker and Johan Mjalby down helping Neil Lennon quite a bit more. I think they did that this weekend, so that was good. But I thought they could have done that in games previous, because obviously with the fans being so far back, it'd be better to have the coaches down and heckling the players and pushing them on, whatever. But great goal from Chris Commons to get us off and running, and that was always good to see. He's got a great shot on him, Chris Commons. We know that. So
yep.
And then Stokes' header to put us through. I was just happy to get out of the place with a victory.
Definitely. You made a good point there. Well, you made several good points, to be honest, Tony. But you made a very good point about Wanyama's header equaliser coming so soon after we went 2-1 down, and I think you're right. If we'd went a little bit longer in that game, not getting back into it, the heads could have went down. It was really important to get that goal back so soon after going 2-1 down. It was a poor goal to lose, the John Daly header one, and I think it was crucial that we got back into it. Sokovicin.
I mean, I think was it Miko Lustig had a chance and it hit off the post.
I think
or whatever,
he hit the post, didn't he? Yeah.
We had done that previously in some other games, so that's what I was saying. Like a few other people were saying, I was thinking, here we go again, we're going to get gubbed. But no, I was just delighted to get through. And as I say, we'll see how it goes in the final. It'll be nip and tuck with Hibs, I suppose. They'll be desperate to get their first, to win the cup, for so many years, 100 and odd years, whatever it is,
Yeah, 111 years or something like that. And I guess I must admit, guys, like you're saying there, I was delighted to get through the game at the end of the day. But I must admit, I've got this little niggling thing in the back of my mind, just with the whole way that Hibs, coming from 3 goals down after, 20 minutes or half an hour or something like that in their game. I was only flicking over. I was watching something else, but I was flicking over because I was obviously interested to see who our potential opponents could be if we got into the final. And I noticed, I think when I flicked on it first, they were 3-1 down. And there was still a bit to go in the game, but I thought, 3-1 down, they've had it. If we win our game tomorrow, we've got Falkirk in the final. You're rubbing your hands together. But when getting back to 3-3 and then going on to win the game in extra time, and it was an excellent strike by Griffiths, and and see at that point, I thought, right, you know what? No matter what happens in our game tomorrow, there's this little niggling thing in the back of my mind is thinking this could be Hibs' year. They've been there a few times in the recent past, I suppose, as well, and they've been fairly close, and it's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, that type of thing. Just at that point in time, I thought to myself, maybe their name's on this trophy. And in fact, that's something I'd maybe like to speak to. In fact, have we been joined by Craig? Has Craig been patiently waiting there? Are you there, mate?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, Craig. You're coming through. First of all, in fact, if I could just, Craig, if you could, first of all, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
Alright, okay. Well, I've been a Celtic fan all my life. Season book holder since the new stadium was built. Been on Twitter for about a year and a half now, winding people up and gaining a following. I've been listening to yourselves for a while, listening to a lot of podcasts, so I thought I'd break my cherry and come on today. Well, Pat's been hounding as well. So
he has. No, that's good, Craig, and thanks for calling in tonight as well. It's appreciated. It will hopefully keep the show flowing along.
The problem being though, if Craig's on the show, who's going to tweet in?
He's not tweeting then, is he?
No, there's nobody. Is there anybody? Is anyone listening to this? Do you think there's anybody listening?
I can't multitask, so I can only do one at a time. You want me to hang up?
No, stay on, Craig. Stay on. Well, I guess let's ask yourself as well, Craig, your own views on the game. Were you at the game or were you watching it on the telly or?
I was at the game.
Yep.
I went with my mate and I went with another mate that's not actually a Celtic fan. Not much of a football fan, to be honest.
Right.
But I took him along to the game. He's only been to one game before. It was the St Mirren game. He said he went with his dad or something. So we took him along to the game, and I think he was pleasantly surprised. Like he been the neutral. It's 4-3 game,
Yeah.
For myself, I was having a heart attack. I was having palpitations. Never mind Miko Lustig having palpitations. I was I was ready to phone the ambulance. Some of the defending that was going on.
It wasn't the best, wasn't it? It wasn't the best. But let's
didn't seem to. When Dundee United ran at us, they didn't know where to go. They didn't know where to chase the ball, stick with their player. And every time Dundee United went up the park, I was in fear they were going to score. When it went to 2-1, I thought it was game over. Just another hard luck story. But I did say the last time I was at Hampden was before we started a little hoodoo, and we'd won that game. So that the next time I was at Hampden was on Sunday there. So I might be a bit of a good luck charm. We finally got over the line.
Well, fingers crossed. Have you got a ticket for the? You got a ticket for the final?
I should have a ticket for the final. Hopefully, I will.
Well, let's hope you make it 2 out of 2.
What you were saying about the niggling feeling you had about Hibernian going to win this Scottish Cup, I think I've got the same one. I think it might be their year. And Celtic at Hampden, they are dodgy, and if Hibs are on their game that day and they're up for it, then we could struggle.
Yeah, I think that is my fear. It's not part of it is there's been a lot of hype about how long it is since they've won it, and to me, even being half the world away in Oz, I feel there's more talk about it this time than there has been since when they got to the final in previous years. I mean, they haven't won it for so long, but it seems to be even more heightened. I don't know, is it just I don't know, I'm reading into it a little bit more, but putting the combination of the hype around Hibs potentially winning it this year, and always having that little niggling doubt in the back of our mind that, you know, we're not as great as we can be at Hampden. We've not got a brilliant record at Hampden, let's face it. Okay, we got through that semi-final there, but it's not been a very kind ground to us in recent times and recent visits. So it does, a combination of those two things are kind of chipping away at me. But of course, come the cup final, it's going to be a Sunday night over here. I'll have been on the drink all day, and an hour before kick-off, I'll be hoping we'd be playing Barcelona or something in a final rather than Hibernian. I'll be that confident, you know. But no, we'll see how it goes. Something, as we know, the way the game started, and unfortunately, Pat, as you said, you missed the goal, but I'm sure you've seen some replays of it. But Chris Commons got us off to a really good start, and it's something that we were maybe going to have a little bit of a chat about tonight, guys, about Chris Commons himself, because there's a few different opinions out there. Some people are really, really big fans of him. There's others that don't really like the guy at all, and there's quite a few with a bit of middle ground as well there, I suppose. So what I'm going to do just now is just go around, I guess the three of you just now, just to get a bit of a view on Chris Commons. So Pat, I'll come to you first. I mean, what's your feelings on the guy in general, his time at Celtic? Is he a player worth hanging on to? Would you let him go? What do you think?
Absolutely. We keep a hold of him. I kind of wanted to raise this tonight, and just for the fact that a few weeks ago, just there was so many people kind of, you know, very sort of critical of him. Just I thought being a bit hard on him. I mean, he was off on my touch. You know, I wouldn't say he was sort of the worst player in the park, but I think he's one of the few players who've actually got that's that creative and can actually, you know, put his foot in the ball and find somebody. You know, it's just I found it kind of odd that. And then this is only 2-3 weeks ago. Just go back and read some of the articles and stuff like on forums and stuff like that, really kind of bagging him and saying, you know, he wasn't that good. But I think he's one of the kind of top performers for the year. And it's kind of funny that in a couple of weeks, in that sort of small place of time, that short space of time, that he's went from, you know, sell the guy's crap to, oh, this guy could be potentially player of the year. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just still a bit surprised that people are bagging him that much. He's just going to be one of those sort of players. If he has an off game, it's very noticeable. He's putting his foot in the ball. He's actually putting himself out there to try and, you know, be in a position to pick the ball up. If he's having a bad day, everybody notices it. Everyone knows it. So and maybe that's where it just gets noticed a bit more. I don't know, but I would certainly keep a hold of him.
So you're definitely a fan, Pat. You're definitely a fan.
I think he's a great player, and again, one of the few sort of outlets we've got that number 10 role that we keep kind of talking about, and we have spoken about for a long time. So yeah, I don't know. I'd certainly keep a hold of him.
And Jim Kinlan has tweeted in as well, just to say that Chris is our player of the year. So Jim's a contributor to the show quite a while, so Jim definitely agrees with you there, Pat. Before I move on to yourself, Tony, another good friend and a Sydney-based Celt, V_Mar. So Pat and I know her, along with quite a few other of the boys, and she's actually said that she was going to try and work out this Skype thing. Now, I'm not going to tell you this person's name actually, because she never ever gives it out, whether it's on Twitter or on Facebook, but we'll just let her be known as her Twitter handle just now, V_Mar. So if you're listening, VMar, try and Skype in, because I know that you could contribute a fair little bit to this show tonight. I think we might get some good crack out of it as well.
Yeah, Kev, anyway. I think the term is talk, hind legs, and donkey, something along those lines. She's a good laugh.
what I would say is if Vmar, I'm pretty certain she'll be swigging down some bodies just now because she's in Sydney. And it's, 9:30 in the evening?
9:30, yeah, 9:30 over here.
So she's obviously getting some of our brave juice into her. And you never know, folks. We might have the pleasure of hearing Vmar dialing in later on, but we'll see how that goes. If she doesn't, she's been given a shout out anyway. So fair play. Now Jim Kinlan's tweeted back in as well to say that Chris Commons has been our most consistent and creative player this season. Tony, I'll come to you on this. Chris Commons, what's your own views on the guy?
He's a good player, very good. I think some of the goals he scores are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I think it was his first goal at Hampden when he just dinked it. It went over the goalie. I don't know. People were wondering, was that a shot? Was that a cross? What was that? You know, but that went in. I think was it Derby he played for previously, and he scored against Man United at Old Trafford. I think, is that right? Derby. Derby County.
You're testing us now, Tony.
No, it was.
I'm not sure.
It was. I mean, he tries with his right foot. You know, he does try. He does occasionally have a strike with it. He'll swing a leg, you know, but he's predominantly left-footed. Usually, as far as Chris is concerned, he gets the ball on his chest, whatever, and just touches it out half a yard or a yard from his feet and just smashes it. It could be 30, 35 yards. I mean, some people are a wee bit critical of that. Should he pass it a wee bit more, or, you know, why does he have to shoot on every occasion? But he's probably one of the few players in the team who do have a good shot from distance. He's stocky build, you know, he's not as tall, but he's stocky, he can keep the ball. There's one thing I don't really like about him. I don't like him hitting the deck so much, you know, he does go down. I mean, it's good for the team in that you get a free kick here, there and everywhere, and against Spartak or whoever, you get penalties, you know. I mean, it was Georgios that went down against Spartak, but no, I mean, so I can see the value in it from a team's point of view, but in terms of pure football, I do like to see a player hold his ground, shrug off a challenge, and then crack on and smack it in the back of the net if he can. But, you know, modern footballers, they do hit the deck anywhere around about the box, so I can see the value in it, you know. Chris is 29, you know. He's above the average age, which is quite a bit above the average age, I suppose, of the Celtic team, you know. Well, I don't know exactly what the average is. It might be 26 or something like that because of Lucas Zaluska and that. But no, you know, he's a cracking player. Would I keep him? I mean, obviously, if being 29, whatever, you can't keep him, you know, for forever and ever. But I don't know. Would you sell him next season if he wanted to stay on another season? You know, raise his profile again if we did get to the Champions League. I don't know. He had a bit of a run in, did he, with Lenny? Was it the start of this season or whenever? And he had a few issues on Twitter, and
yeah, there
was away in the golfing trip with Gary Hooper. All these things. I think he's got over that. He was injured and he got over that as well. So he's come onto a storm. He could very well be, you know, player of the year. I mean, I would vote for Georgios for player of the year myself. But no, he's a good player, and I like having him in the team. I would certainly try and keep him if we could. But if he wanted to move on with some of his mates, then I could also understand that, you know.
Yep. You mentioned, I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree that he's got a fantastic left foot on him. He does try to use the right foot sometimes, but definitely, as you were talking there, Tony, there's certainly a right foot goal from Chris Commons I've got in my mind that's stamped in there, and it was the third goal in our 3-0 humping of the former Rangers Football Club when we beat them at Celtic Park. Yes, yeah, I'm pretty certain Commons scored a fantastic right-footed strike in that game. It's flying past Alan McGregor just to seal a glorious victory that particular day. So, yeah, I mean, Craig, I'll come to you now if that's okay, and I'll ask you the same question. Chris Commons as a player and his time with Celtic, what's your own views on him just now? And is he the type of player that would want to hang on to for another season or two, or would you try to cash in on the guy or let him go?
Well, I think we should definitely hang on to him. I mean, how much are we actually going to get for Chris Commons if we were to sell him, say, at the end of the season, end of next season? We're not going to really get a big amount of money. Like, he's worth more to us on the pitch than he is for sale, as far as I'm concerned. Tony and Pat have said most things about him I agree with. I think he's got a great left peg. I think he's been great for us this season, after the shockery of season he had last season. I think when, especially the last 10 games, especially if Chris Commons has not been playing, the team hasn't been playing. And he's a definite starter for me. As a player of the season, I'm not sure. Actually, I still undecided about my player of the season. He is one of them. Probably him and Samaras are probably maybe the top two. Definitely not Gary Hooper, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, I think he's somebody we need to keep a hold of, and I think if we've got a young team, he's an older head there to keep them in check, and maybe future captain if certain players go in the summer.
Oh, future captain.
Then.
That's a big call. Craig.
That is a big call.
But saying that, Neil Lennon gives the captaincy to anybody, so it could be anybody.
Oh, Jesus! So. Pew, pew, pew. Here he comes. Do you this?
Controversial. This is what we like. We love a bit of controversy on the show.
I'm going to get abuse on Twitter, man. And Neil Lennon's blocked me already.
No, I must admit, guys, Chris Commons, when he first came to the club, I thought he had a fantastic season for us. Last season, okay, we know he had a few injury worries and a few other issues as well, and he was nowhere near the player. I think this season he started getting near the player he was in his first season with us, but there's honestly I hear what you're all saying there, and I've no doubt there's still a very, very good player in there, but for me, he's not hit the heights of his first season with us. And I must admit, guys, I'd be of the mind that if somebody, taking on board what you said, Craig, about we're not necessarily going to get much money for the guy if somebody comes in, and I don't know, when is his contract up? How long have we got? What's the contract situation with him? Have we got anything on there with him? Do we know?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that. I think he's got a season to run at least after this one. I'm not sure after that.
You're right. I take that point about we might not get much for him anyway, and given his age and things like that as well.
Kevin, it was a 3.5-year deal from January 2011.
Right. Okay. So we've got 2011, we're 23. So we've got another year and a bit to go, potentially. Or a year to go.
About a year, no.
Around about a year.
Months, a couple of months.
So they'd normally try and finish the contract end of a season, so I would suspect it would be probably the same as Hooper. I think Hooper's finishes the end of next season. I'm guessing he would be something along the same lines.
So again, it was a good point you made though, Craig, about, coming into that last year, you're always, any money that you could potentially get for somebody, you're obviously getting a bit chipped off. I'm honestly, though, of the mindset just now that if a club was interested in taking Chris Commons away, I don't think he's the type of guy that would want to leave Celtic just now at this stage in his career. But I think if there was a club that was to come in and make an offer, now I'm not aware of there being anybody interested in him for starters, but if there was a reasonable offer came in for a guy, this is where I'd probably disagree with you all, and I'd probably let the guy go, to be honest.
What is a reasonable offer, would you think?
Now that is a very good question. It's meant to be me that asks the questions here, Craig. You put me in the spot. I would say, in the current climate, in the current market, and given his age, I would honestly accept, you've put me in the, I'm going to say it anyway, $500,000, I'd let him go.
Oh,
never.
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
I'd let him go for $500,000. Right, let me go round and ask the three of you your own view. Right, if he was to go, bearing in mind what you've said, if we had to sell the guy, realistically, Pat, what would you think he's worth? A year left in his contract?
Well, if it was a year left in his contract, it depends, again, on whether, firstly, if he wanted to stay. If he wants to stay and he's happy to play, then I'd be inclined to say, I'd be asking for silly money just for the thought of, or the hope he doesn't go. But
here's the scenario, right? He wants to stay, right? Because I think he does want to stay anyway. I don't think at this stage of his career he'd want to leave. He wants to stay, but a club comes in and they're very, very interested in Chris Commons, and they say, Celtic, what's your price to sell him? So what do you think? Because as the old saying goes, everybody's got their price. So what would your price be for a guy?
Oh, I'd say probably anything between 1.5, 2.5 mil.
Right, fair enough.
The problem being is that if he's last year of his contract, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's certainly worth more than that. If he's got a year and a half, 2 years left in his contract, he's worth far more than that. Because there's not many players like him out there, like good players. What he maybe lacks is that consistency that the big English clubs might not kind of want. But he's still a very, very good, very creative player.
See, I disagree with that. I think there's loads of good players out there. You just have to find them. You know what I mean? I think if it's too...
Not the number 10.
Where I would think, I guess what we're saying is value for money players. There's loads of good players out there, but it's whether or not you could get them for a reasonable price.
There's good players in lots of positions, but the number 10 role is notorious. It's so hard to find someone who can do it. And I'm not saying
I think he's a number 10 player.
He is at the moment.
Diego Maradona style.
No, well, he is at the moment. He's a guy that's performing that role in the sort of the middle of the park. So if he's not there, I mean, Rogic is the only other guy who's an obvious candidate to come in and do it. So,
but listen, we all know from past shows, Pat, that you love Tom Rogic. Mate.
I do. I genuinely love him. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, hopefully, maybe this weekend we'll actually get to see a bit of him. So we'll see how we go.
We'll see. Right, so you reckon anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 million, something like that. What about yourself, Tony? If we had, bearing in mind what you've said before, but if a club came in and said, "Listen, we are really, really interested in taking Chris Commons off you here," what's the asking price? What would it be?
About $1 million.
Mm-hmm. See, you were all scoring at $500,000. $1 million's not that much more.
No, the thing is. We got him for 300, so even if you get 600, that's done well. And, I don't know what his wages would have been over the time, but if you can break even and all of that package, then you're doing well. But if you can make any money, it's a bonus. So I'd say about $1 million. But something Craig was saying earlier about him maybe being a captain, I can see him being some sort of a bit of a leader to the younger lads in some respects. He's usually quite well behaved generally, and he's probably a decent enough trainer, and he's quite a good representative. He's never in much bother, and he's a good player. So I don't know, I'll be full-blooded captain, but certainly a good example to the rest of the lads. As I say, my main concerns about him are that he's quite friendly with the rest of the lads, and a few of them would probably be on their way. Certainly Gary Hooper, and I don't even know if Joe Ledley's going to go.
Craig, I hope you've not been knocked down by a vehicle there, mate.
I apologise, okay? I'm outside at the moment. I'm getting funny looks.
That's okay.
No, that was just a tractor going by there. I'm looking at the Clyde now.
A tractor?
So sorry about the interference.
Do you live in Barrowstown S as well?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not, jeez. He has aspirations, Kev. He's got aspirations.
This show
I'm sitting in Clyde Bank.
Oh, the bonny banks of Clyde Bank.
Sorry, did I interrupt somebody there with the tractor going by?
No, not at all. But I was just about to move on to you, Craig, to ask you. And knowing what you said earlier on, that you'd love to hang on to Commons as well. But if you weren't in that lucky position from your point of view, and if somebody was saying, look, we're really interested in taking him off your hands, what's your asking price for Chris Commons? What would you be looking for him?
Bare minimum 1.5. That's 1.5. If it was Liverpool, 10 million.
Yes.
I don't see, like, for £500,000, I still think he'd value the team more. £500,000 is nothing. What are we going to do with that? So I would keep him, and if we can get another year out of him after his current deal, then great. And he could bring some of the youth players on as well. So I'm quite I like having older heads in the team, especially in days like Hampden coming about, and when they could lose on the pitch, and he was doing his best for the team. So he's somebody to look up to. £500,000 is a no-no. 1.5 million, I'll take it, but I would grudgingly take it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard what you've said, guys. I don't know. Is it just me? And I don't know. Is this now because I'm over the in Oz, and I don't get to hear as many like interviews and things like that with a lot of our newer, well, they're newer to me signings since I've been over here, I suppose. But to me, the way Chris Commons comes across as quite a kind of quietish character. I don't, as I said, I haven't heard a lot of interviews with a guy or anything like that, but there's also been those couple of little alleged incidents with disagreements with Lennon and stuff like that. We mentioned that earlier on. To me, it's just I don't see him as being captain material, because to me you need to be a bit of a character. You need to have a bit of, I don't know. It's that you need to have something else about you. To me, Chris Commons is a bit too quiet of a player. He's the type of guy that, again, if he gets tackled, his head goes down. He's not one of those kind of in-your-face type players. So to me, that's the type of captain that I like to have and I like to see. So I take your point about the experience thing, and the guy has got experience, but I suppose part of that is that in his time with Celtic, it's really in the last few years being with us that he's gained that experience himself. He's certainly an older head, older player, and maybe some of the younger boys could learn from him, but maybe $500,000's a little bit too skimpy. But yeah, I would, if a team was interested in him, I would probably let the guy go and see if there's something else out there. But Jim Kinlan completely disagrees with all that stuff as well, though. He's although he's actually saying on Twitter now that his biggest fear is losing Leslie. Now, I think he really means Joe Ledley there.
Is that his wife?
Maybe it is. Jim, you'll need to tell us, mate. Is Leslie your wife?
What's wrong with her, Jim?
Wrong, mate. Maybe I'm reading into this wrong. I'm going to assume that you're meaning that you're going to your biggest fear is losing Joe Ledley. Now, that was something else we were going to touch on tonight, guys. There has been talk in the media that if Cardiff are they promoted or are they potentially getting promoted?
I think they are
promoted. Yeah.
They are promoted, right? So there's this fear that now that they're in the big league, the Premiership, that he might be his head may be turned, and if they were to come in for him, that he'd go back to. I mean, there's no doubt in the guy's a Cardiff fan and things like that, but Jim Kinlan certainly tweeted in to say that that's a big fear, that he would lose Ledley, not necessarily Leslie. Is that something then, guys, that you think could happen? Bearing in mind, again, the impression that I get of Joe Ledley is that yes, he's Cardiff born and bred, he's a big Cardiff fan, but I honestly think since Joe Ledley's been at Celtic, he's I guess went down that kind of that John Hartson route, that he's yes, his first love was another team, but he's certainly got a massive soft spot, if I could put it that way, for us now. And I don't think Joe Ledley's head would be turned, because I think with the Champions League that we can offer him, it's something that he'd like to hang about at Celtic a little bit longer. What would you think yourself, though, Pat? Is that something that gives you some concerns, as it does with Jim, that he might have his head turned, and that he might, if an offer was to come in, that he might go and we might accept it?
Absolutely. I think he'd be, for me, I think I explained in a previous podcast that one of my biggest fears isn't so much the guys who we kind of, not guarantee, but we think are going to go, guys like, Foster and Hooper and these sort of guys, but it's the guys that kind of the unknowns, that people that kind of under the radar a little bit, and Ledley's certainly one of those. Matthews is another. I think these guys would certainly be in demand because they're great players. Now, maybe the guys back there can clarify for me, because the way I'm reading stuff on Twitter is that his family, I think, are still down south somewhere, because he certainly tweets now and again about, is it Ruby or Ruby May or something? I can't remember the exact thing, but something like that about, as if, I don't know if it's his kid or wife or whatever, but just like along the lines of he's left them at the airport and they're going home. Now that if that's the case, is that the case? Are you guys aware of that, or am I just misreading his tweets? Tumbleweeds.
I haven't heard anything about that, to be honest. But no, I mean, I was just thinking, it was mentioned about Champions League and that. I mean, Joe Ledley has seen the Champions League now, and he's a massive Cardiff fan. And will Cardiff be in the Premier League for more than one season? Or I mean, I think for this one, it's going to hinge upon Malky. Would Malky want to sign Joe Ledley? Would he have more money to get somebody else, somebody more, somebody better? I don't know. There'll be people at Cardiff who know Joe from previously, and would they say, well, he's a top man, we get him back here, and all this kind of thing? I think he would be a good squad player for them, but preferably I'd like him to stay, But we've got to be realistic about these things. Some of his pals might be moving on, and he might think the same, As I say, I would like him to stay. But if he did go at all, I would try and get as much for him, maybe 4 or 5 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure of the contract situation with Ledley and how long he's got to run on it there. But again, I think he is the type of guy that would like to hang on to. And would he be an attractive player for Cardiff to sign? Well, I would think yes, he would be, because something that he can or he could bring to them would be. We talk about experience, but he would be bringing Champions League experience. Now, there's not a lot of players get the chance to experience that and gain from that. So, bringing that to the Premier League would certainly, I think, be an attractive proposition for Cardiff. So, would he be the type of guy that Cardiff would be after? I'd say probably yes. Would I want him to go? I would agree with Jim Kinlan on that. No, I would definitely be wanting to keep the likes of Joe Ledley at Celtic for another few years yet. I mean, Craig, what's your own thoughts on the Joe Ledley situation?
Well, I think Wills would be naive to think it wouldn't consider a return back to Cardiff. But would he want to go back to Cardiff now they're in the Premiership, not having helped them? Because he had a few attempts with him himself, and obviously gave up, came to Celtic. Would he actually want to go back now that they're in the Premiership? And there might be like some sort of some fans saying, "Oh, you're only here because we're in the Premiership now. You weren't interested 3 or 4 seasons ago." Does he want that kind of aggro? And again, does Malky Mackay even want him? That's the biggest question, because he's not said anything to indicate that he wants him.
Yeah.
For me, Joe Ledley is the backbone of our team, and he needs to be there for the foreseeable future. Will the likes of Wanyama and that go, Ledley needs to be in the middle of the park. Him and Brown, I would think.
Yeah. We've had a tweet from Big Stuart 1888. His Twitter handle was @white_Italy, and it's a question to your good self, Tony. Big Stuart 1888 is asking, who does Tony think is the best of the Twardzic brothers?
Thanks for that, Kevin. Yeah, I saw that tweet there from Stuart. I know Stuart, he's a great lad, I've been along to 1 or 2 matches with him, youth team. The Twardzic brothers, I mean, obviously there's another brother as well. There's a third one. He's playing, I think, he was anyway, as a reserve goalie or something like that up at Aberdeen,
Right, I didn't know that. Right, I didn't know that.
There's quite a sporting family, as far as I know. The father was, they both speak German, and I think they came in from Berlin, but I know the father was in the goalkeeping trade, I think he was maybe involved in the goalkeeping at Hertha Berlin or something like that. I've met their mum up at Lennoxtown as well, nice wee lady, friendly. But as far as Patrick and Philip and Patrick are concerned, well, Philip's got a 3-year contract now, and Patrick's got the 1-year contract. So, I mean, in some respects, I suppose that tells its own story. Lenny and maybe the coaching staff as well probably think that Philip is the better long-term deal. Philip's been out injured. I mean, we remember Philip certainly from the Kilmarnock match when we won the league last time round, the back flick into Joe Ledley.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
It was a beautiful goal, so it was a nice wee flick from Philip. And Philip made his debut, as far as I know, down in that cup match down at Wembley. Who was we played again?
We beat Tottenham Hotspur in the final.
We played another couple of teams. We played Al Ahly and we played another team. I forget who it was. But anyway, Philip, he's a good player. You know.
Yep.
He gets about the park and he's quite skillful. He's very technical. He's not. I mean, he's fiery enough. He can get stuck into a challenge, but he's not like a big victor. Hold people off the ball like that. But
yep.
Patrick, on the other hand, Patrick's got a fantastic shot on him. You know, if he can get the ball from 30 yards, cracking. You know, he'll hit the top corner. You know, he's really skillful in that respect. And he scored the winning goal against Dundee in the Youth Cup semi-final just the other week there to get the team into the final. You know, it was a penalty. Mm-hmm. He's left-footed. You know,
okay.
But so as I say, I would say probably also with Lenny and coaching staff might be saying, you know, but Patrick's still got a chance. You know.
Now, is that correct? No, that wasn't a tractor that time. Was that a train?
That was a jet. I think it was a jet going over. Jesus.
What was that, Craig?
That was a 62 bus.
Oh, the number 62. Is that the one to Baillieston?
That's one takes you straight to Celtic Park.
Oh, that's the Baillieston bus, isn't it?
Is it the Baillieston one? I couldn't even...
I think it is, aye.
See, this is a problem when we're talking on the move. I actually need to go back to work soon, so I won't be able to stay with you for the duration.
No.
I wanted to bring up one point.
Are you out on your lunch, Craig?
No, I don't technically have a lunch time to take. I'm just out. I'm out skiving.
Brilliant.
Taking in this one. So I had one point that I wanted to bring up. I was talking to a few people on Twitter about. Yep. What do you think about Celtic trying to sign John Daly on a Bosman?
Right, I'll leave my thoughts on that until let's ask that of Pat first of all. John Daly on a Bosman, Pat. What's your thoughts on that?
You're just going to copy what I say, though. You've actually got no thoughts of your own.
Do you want me to give you my view right now? Right, I'll give you my view. John Daly, strapping big centre forward, muckle big beast of a man. Is he an out goal scorer? I don't think he is. He's one of these guys that I would describe as a good Scottish Premier League player. I would put him in the same category as some other good Scottish Premier League players that we've tried to obtain in the past. Sometimes we've got them and they've turned into mediocre squad players for us. The type of striker that I like to see playing with Celtic is not John Daly. So whether he was available in a Bosman or not, and I know that Chef Conians have tried to tempt him, which is another story, being an Irishman and things like that. I don't know how much truth there was in that. I'd also heard the rumour that he'd signed a pre-contract with them, but I'm not sure if that's true. But anyway, no. So there's my answer. I'm not going to copy anybody. John Daly on a Bosman or anything, no chance. I wouldn't take the guy. There's plenty better strikers out there than him, and he's not the type of striker that I like to see. There you are. It's been said. Patrick.
I absolutely agree with everything you just said there, Kev, so yeah, I'll pass it on.
So you're copying me. Never agree with me, Pat. Never agree with me.
Look, I think he's found his sort of level with Dundee United. I think if he moves away and tries to do a bit of a step up, I think he might struggle a bit. So, not that I think he's a bad player. I think he fits a certain mould of team and tactics and format and stuff. I'm just not sure we are that. But having said that, we have missed a tall and strong player in the attack for quite a while. And if it was a Bosman, yeah. Why not? I mean, is it worth a punt? Yeah, again, why not? He's also filled in, I think, at centre-half, I think, for Dundee United as well. So
he's not a Chris Sutton, has he?
No, I wouldn't necessarily go out and...
Chris Sutton cost £6 million. John Daly's going to cost you nothing.
Yeah.
You're saying he's a good SPL player. I mean, remind me again, what league do we play in?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he's at his level.
Sorry, Craig. What I should have said was he's a good SPL player. If you took us out of that league, I would put him up there with Derek Riordan, Willow Flood. He's one of these guys that he's caused us problems in the past, and you kind of say, that's a guy that's, he causes us a few problems when we play them. Maybe we should sign him. Now Is it worth signing him just so he won't score against us? No. I still wouldn't take the big man. I still wouldn't take the big man. I can see where you're coming from, but no, I think he's one of those guys that you could see him doing. He's a journeyman. He's one of these guys that will play at he's playing at a level just now that's good for him, I think. To bring him in, do I think he's a better striker than Gary Hooper? I know we talked about Gary Hooper earlier on. He's a class striker, but he's been absolutely garbage recently. Is he a better striker than Gary Hooper, in my opinion? No. Is he a better striker than Anthony Stokes? No. Is he a better striker than Georgios Samaras? No. There is no way I would play him in my team above any of those guys I've just mentioned there.
A better striker than Samaras, though? A better striker?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Samaras as a striker is not very effective.
Better player then. Is he a better player than Georgios Samaras? No.
No, he's not. He's not mobile for a start.
No, he's... Yeah,
but just as a punt, as on a Bosman,
it is a very good. You know what? It is a very good discussion point. But Tony, what's your? In fact, I won't come at you just now, Tony, because we've been joined on the show by Mr. Jim Rennox. Are you there, Jim?
Hi, Kevin. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Jim, you've phoned into or Skyped into the show before, but for anybody just listening the first time, you are based in Oz, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland.
It's all good, and you're obviously not working on a mine site somewhere. Just
no,
you've managed to join us tonight.
I'm actually home just now, mate, which is pretty good. It's nice to be back.
You're taking your well-deserved R&R, as they say.
Yeah, you could say that, yep. I go to these places you don't see in the brochure, mate. That's it.
Oh, now, Jim, I'm going to ask you a question in a second, but Lord above, we have been joined by we've been joined by VMAR herself, or her Skype handle, Miss Minsky's. Now, I'm not going to say your name because I don't know if you like your name being published, but either Miss Minsky's or VMAR, what would you like to be known as tonight?
I can't hear you. You're dropping out. Can you hear me?
I think we've got too many on a call at the moment. I think that's part of the problem. I'm getting issues with Skype saying it's too many people. So,
guys, I can go there now because I actually will need to get back to work.
Craig, listen, just before you drop out then, mate, we'll continue this John Daly question for you, and when you listen to it back later on, mate, you can hear what the rest of us have got to say about it, but it's been a good point, and thanks for phoning in, mate, while you've been getting nearly ran down by tractors and 62 Ellison buses, mate.
No bother. I'll phone in again some other time, next time we've got a chance.
Please do. Good on you.
Right, have fun.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Right, I think Craig's still there just now. Has he dropped out yet? Now, again, Miss Minsky's VMAR. Can you hear us?
I can hear ringing as well. Who's ringing?
I don't know.
Is that ding dong?
I do not know.
That's not us. That's just the noise in your ears.
Is this how we listen? Do we just dial in and listen to use rabbiting away? No?
You don't have to. It's your choice. Jeez, woman.
No, but is this how we do it though? Or do we have to go into Spreaker?
No.
If you're on Skype, aren't you?
I am a Skype virgin though.
But hey, that's all fine. That's all good. We can look after you while you're on here. Now listen. First of all, the first question is, have you got a little vodka there?
I've got a big tequila.
Oh, a tequila is tonight. Right, that's good. How would you like to be addressed? How would you like to be addressed on the show? Miss Minsky's, VMAR, MA.
Madam.
Say again.
Madam.
Madam. Right, okay. Madam it shall be. So, Madam, Pat and myself and quite a few Oz-based Tims will know you from Twitter, from Facebook, from the Oz, New Zealand,
Get
PA,
together.
yes, the PNG Facebook group, etc., and from bumping into you at various Celtic orientated functions across the country. For those that do not know you, you've got the platform, madam. You have the platform now. Give the Celtic listening public back home a little bit of a update on who you are, where you're based, what you do, and your love for Celtic, obviously.
Oh my God, is this like the Inquisition?
You don't have to. I'm just giving you the opportunity to.
I know, but I'll only do it this time. I will do it the next time because I might have some news for you as well to like start talking about the Oz CSC. But not the night. I will the next time. I just want to see what it's like to phone in, see what goes on, see who's there, blah blah blah. You know.
I hear you. Right, we'll do that then, madam. So I'll keep calling you madam then. Is that all right? Is that all right with you?
That's right. I think that's you, Kevin.
It is, aye. Right.
Yeah.
So swig away your tequila. I'm going to now come over to Jim because we've got Jim Rennox on the call as well now. Now, what we were talking about there was Craig, who just dropped off the call, had put the little point across about John Daly as a footballer, and if he was available on a Bosman, would we be interested in signing him? So, Jim, I don't know if you caught any of what was said earlier on, but I'm going to put that question or that point to you. John Daly, would you take him on a Bosman?
No.
Why
I'd like
not?
I'd like to think we can do better than that, surely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, we can do better than that. Bosman or no Bosman, come on.
Yeah, no, that's kind of echoing the thoughts Pat and myself had, I must admit. Tony, what about yourself? What do you think about John Daly? Would you take him on a Bosman if he was available for us?
No. Do you know what comes to mind for me? Sonny Aluko. You know what happened to him? Sonny Aluko. He paid money to the old club to join them, you know. See if John Daly paid us money to join, I still wouldn't take him. No offence to the big man. For me, he's just a bit too old, you know. Now, I mean, he could maybe do a job, a couple of goals here and there, but before you know it, it'll be another Paddy, you know. He'd be just hanging about the place, you know. Yep. I don't think it's good. I think get the younger boys in, or you know, guys at 24 or something. I don't know. But I mean, the whole point Craig I think was making was that it was totally free to her, pretty much free. You know, I don't know what kind of salary he would give the guy, but. I would let it go. I mean, as somebody mentioned earlier, it's a big step up to join Celtic, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I don't know if it came across the way I was saying it, but that's exactly what I was kind of getting at. He's a good SPL player for another team, but he couldn't replace any of the players we've currently got, let alone the type of players that I'd be hoping that we would be looking at to bring in, because anytime you're looking to buy a player or bring in a new player, it's to improve what you've got. It's not to bring in bloody journeymen that's just going to make up numbers. You don't want that. You've got to bring in guys that are going to improve what you've got. And I'm sorry, the big man for me is just not. He's not got it at all. Jim Kinlan has tweeted in again to say that this is actually the Australia show tonight. And I think this must be a bit of a record where the Aussie-based Tims are outnumbering our good friends back home. Closer. Well,
actually, I should point out Jim's been trying to call in, but what happens? Skype seems to struggle when there's too many people connecting. And I get error messages. Basically, Skype tell me that there's just the call's degraded and that sort of stuff. So if you can just hold on a little bit, Jim will and give us a call in a little while, then we'll absolutely 100% get you in here. But just at the moment, I kind of you're going nowhere. We're going
to madam, you stay put.
I'll tell you. Right. Well, do you want me to tell you about my thoughts on John Daly?
Please, yes.
Well, I've been at the loop a wee bit, and I thought it was about that drunk golfer. It's no, is it? I don't even know who he is. He's rubbish as far as I'm concerned.
Listen,
there you go.
I told you it'd be good value if we got, or Madam as I should call you now tonight. If we got Madam on the show, we knew it'd be good value. So no, it wasn't the the American golfer with his wacky trousers. It was the Dundee United striker
And
we
the
were
drink
talking about,
problem.
man.
Oh, I see. I didn't even know. Yeah, I don't know him.
That's
He
who it
can't be
was.
that good looking then. So
But you
we
know
don't want
what?
him. If he's not good
John
look-
Daly, the golfer, might have done as good a job.
He'd be good at the party afterwards at the weekend. I'm sure he'd get around then.
Right, now we're going to move on a little bit now. We've actually been going for quite a while. I'll tell everybody this now because Pat and myself are a little bit concerned tonight that we wouldn't be able to keep the show going just the two of us because we didn't have Josh.
Enough conversation between the two of you.
We wouldn't have, yeah. Oh, Madam, what happens is usually Pat and myself will have a little chat during the week to say, right, what are we going to do for the show, of what we talk about. We've usually got a little list of stuff to keep us going. But I must admit, see Pat, he's a bloody worrier. He worries more than my mother. He worries more than my grandmother. He's just a born worrier. He always panics about we won't be able to talk about stuff.
You realise I'm listening to this, don't you? You do know I'm listening to this. I can hear you. Yeah, I'm still here.
You know, watching the phone lines, do the switchboards and let us go on mute, Pat.
I'm cutting you off.
I thought you were in mute, Pat. But we've been going for how long's that, Patrick? An hour and 22 minutes, and we're still talking. We've only
We're going for 65 minutes.
We've only got through item number
You've been
3
talking.
of...
You've been talking for around 20 minutes. You haven't shut up. But no, 66 minutes. Let's do 67 minutes, and then we'll cut them off.
We've only talked about item 3 of 17, so we're going to be on here all night. We're going to be on all night. No, we won't get down that route, for God's sake.
Can we just tell people as well that every single week we've done this, we've said, kind of before the show's even started, we said, right, we need to limit this to 1 hour. People don't want to hear any more than 1 hour, and I think the last one's been getting longer and longer. So I think we let's try and keep this one well within reason. I think, but
we'll see how we go.
We'll see how we go. Yeah, it's not starting very well, but anyway.
I've got a 3/4 bottle of tequila and a bottle and a half of vodka, so I'm all right for the night.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear, madam. Are you drinking it straight, or are you mixing it?
Mixing it, a wee bit of soda water, you know.
Splendid. Right, I'm going to come on to another subject now, and what we're going to try to do here now, and Tony, there's going to be a little bit of limelight on yourself here now, so I hope you don't mind, but there are we were quite keen to get you, when I say we, I'm talking about Pat, of course, and myself. We were pretty keen to get somebody like yourself on the show to give us in Australia a little bit more of an insight on some of the youth players that are coming through. Now, I guess it's a luxury you've got when you're back home and close to paradise, that if you choose to go along and see some of the youth games, and I know you can get in free to Firhill now as well to see some of those under 19 games and things like that as well. It's something that if I was back there just now, I would definitely consider doing. But we don't have that luxury now, so our exposure to what goes on in the youth setup is we do rely on guys like yourself, guys like Joe McHugh from Video Celts as well, to keep us updated on some of these promising guys that are coming through. So we mentioned the Twardzic brothers earlier on, and I guess even over here we're aware of these guys, particularly probably, I think, I was going to say which one. It's Philip that usually plays, isn't it?
It is. It's usually Philip.
Usually Philip. But see if I could just put to you just now about, you go to see the youth teams in their games regular, but who are the guys just now? Again, for us that are over the other side of the world, or any expats living elsewhere other than closer to home, who are the guys that we can be hopeful of seeing coming through, that they're maybe not too far away from the first team, but guys that have really caught your eye? Who should we be looking for?
I'd say John Heron.
Mm-hmm.
John Heron is, I think he was a captain at under 17 level or whatever. I don't know what happened. See, I've been watching the under 19 and under 17. That was over the last couple of years, and then the 19 stepped up and the SFA or whoever changed the league system and just called it under 20, so they retained the same players that stepped up, you know. So yeah, John Herron's come through. He's been with Celtic since he was about 9 or something. Marcus Fraser that you've seen, but Marcus has been injured recently, so he's a wee bit unlucky in that. You're kind of hoping that we would have won the league in the 1st of April or something like that, you know, but it's been dragging on, so because we didn't win the league until yet, we might win it later on today if things go our way, you know. But if we had won the league early, we could have got a lot of these young guys in there, you know. Yeah, John's a good player, John Herron. He's quite fiery, you know. He's got a bit of a temper on him, and he can sometimes get in a wee bit of a debate with the opposition. But
what position does he play?
He's like an attacking midfielder. He's mostly on the right side.
Is he a number 10? Is he a number 10 type player?
No, I wouldn't say so. For me, Dylan would be a number 10, you know. But I mean, Dylan's been playing wide, I know, and he's been even playing in defence. But Dylan, for me, is could be like a Pirlo guy if you wanted to put him in that position, you know, behind the midfield and just setting up things. But yeah, John, he's very cool in front of goal. You know, he'll get forward and he'll score. You know, he'll anticipate the play and just snip in behind and finish it. He's quite a cool finisher, you know. So
sorry, Tony. Has he played for the first team at all? No.
I think so. Yeah, I think he got a few minutes earlier on. You know, maybe a couple of months ago or something. I think he did at Celtic Park. Anyway, I can't remember exactly, but I think so. I mean, there's, Tony. You know, Tony Watt. I mean, Tony's had only played about 11 games prior to the Barca match. You know, so and then he scored that goal, but he's not really played that many games. I don't feel since then. He's played a few, but he's not really. Tony, for me, he's a great player, excellent, but I think he needs to work on his left side a wee bit more, you know. He's a brilliant player. Tony didn't come through our youth system. He was an Airdrie lad, you know. So hopefully everybody knows Tony. That's the thing about him. The other one, Callum McGregor, good stocky player. Again, he was injured for quite a while, but he's just been getting back to fitness. So that's helpful, you know. And in terms of the defence, well, I mentioned Marcus Fraser. Marcus is very good. He's injured just now. And then right back, we had Darnell Fisher. He's a dark lad. He's very fiery as well. He's good, strong in a tackle, you know. Darnell, sometimes he gets too many yellow cards, really, but no, he's good. And then Jamie Lindsay, I like Jamie. Jamie's very good, you know. He's in the midfield. He's a wee bit slighter than some of the others, but he scored. I mean, recently the youth teams have had a few tournaments. They had the under-20s had a tournament in Abu Dhabi, and the under-17s had a tournament in Moscow, and they both did quite well, you know.
So Tony, what about there's another Australian guy, Jackson Irvine. He's a Melbourne lad as well. So how's he sort of showing up at the moment? Is he moving up to the development squad? Is he still under-20s or?
Yeah, recently I hadn't seen Jackson too much recently. I don't know what happened, if he'd been injured or something and been out for a while, you know. But as I say, I've been watching the young players now for 2 or 3 or a couple of years anyway, maybe a bit more. But Jackson, in the earlier days I saw these guys, Jackson was a brilliant player, man. He would get the ball in midfield and just smash it in the top corner, you know. He was brilliant. Or he would sometimes play in centre half. But and he was going along, he was doing well and that. He's tidy enough. But then, I don't know what happened, he seemed to get a game for the first team, and it was like a rabbit in the headlights. I mean, he played okay, but it was I think he made one mistake. The ball went in defence, and he kind of mishit it or sliced it or something, and then the crowd gave a bit of a sigh, you know. And I don't know, Jackson's confidence seemed to go a wee bit there, but no, and he plays for the Australia and that, so he's coming back and forward now and again to Australia from Glasgow, but he's still a good player. He's still young, you know. Whether or not, I mean, this time of year, April is obviously a key time. Last season, I think it was, we got rid of about 9 players in a one go, you know. So I don't know what's going to happen this time. I mean, some of them who are here and there, who are maybe not quite as good or whatever, are they going to be released again? I mean, is that just the nature of football for a young player? I mean, I don't know, but Jackson's kind of one of those. I mean, you wonder if he's going to stay on or whatever, and there's a few of them like that, you know.
Well, there's another couple of guys.
I hope he does, and I hope he makes it. I think he could do it, but he just needs to get stuck in a wee bit more. I think,
Well, there's a couple of other names that kind of keep coming up. I'm curious what you think of them. So Joe Chalmers, he's left back. Is that right? Left back.
Aye, Joe's very talented in the left. Joe's 40 for me is bombing down the left and getting a great cross into the box. He's very talented with that. He's decent in a tackle, He could be a wee bit more strong, I think, in there. But no, he's a really nice lad. I met him down at Somerset Park at Ayr at a Scottish international match. He was in the stand there with Marcus, and they were sitting nearby. But no, Joe was over in Abu Dhabi there, and he did quite well.
He played earlier in the season up at Inverness, didn't he?
He did, aye. He did. He played against Inverness, and he had quite a good game, He wasn't absolutely brilliant, but I
think he was a bit shaky. I think he was a bit shaky initially, which obviously wouldn't have done his confidence too good.
He did come onto a game, I say it takes time for these young lads, It's not easy. There's big pressure in that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously a dramatic change from just kicking about a park when there's nobody watching to then going in front and playing in front of 20, 30, 40,000, I don't know, more, so...
Yeah, plus the TV cameras as well.
Aye.
So, there's another one. There's another one, Tony. It's probably more a name to us. I've certainly seen a couple little snippets on YouTube, and whatever. But Atajic, am I pronouncing that right?
Swedish guy. Atajic, mate, come on. Atajic is his name.
I know. I'm sorry. I almost forgot Bruden. I don't know how I could forget him. But well, the thing about for me, I can only give you my perspective on it. I don't know what they're talking about within the club or as the player themselves. But from what I've seen, Bruden, he was playing alongside Tony. Apparently the story was Bruden was there first, and then Tony joined, and Tony sort of took over from Bruden, as a sort of front man. Then Tony moved through into the first team and sort of left a gap for Bruden. And Bruden was interviewed maybe 9 months ago, saying he just likes to give the young lads a hand, and that's really what he was doing. He's a top goal scorer in the youth league at the minute, Are you still there?
Yeah.
Still listening, Tony. We are still listening.
I know. I'm conscious of people sort of falling asleep when I'm talking about this stuff because some of them don't really know who these guys are, But Bruden I think he comes from Malmo. I think he played for Malmo. I think the town he comes from is Malmo. It's the same town as Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That's his sort of hero,
Mm-hmm.
But Bruden for me. What's that? What's that noise?
Is that you, madam?
It was me. Yeah, I like Big Zlatan as well. I think he's cracking.
Who, Big Ibrahimovic?
Aye, Big Ibrahimovic, yeah.
I don't remember. This is a Celtic podcast that we're talking about here. Not Who You Fancy podcast.
Bruden, Bruden's he's a really technical player, could maybe be a wee bit stronger. And there's one thing that I don't really like about him is that sometimes he'll go in a wee bit of a huff in a game, like the referee will give him a bad decision, he'll go in a huff and he'll start whinging. But I suppose that's just for a youngster, that's normal. But no, he's really skillful, and he's got a great free kick on him, and he's got a great finish. You saw the beautiful goal he scored against Hearts over at Tynecastle in the Scottish Cup, the volley, that was fantastic. He's capable of doing that. So, but
is he going to be the type of player that is going to get a chance and he's going to, he's going to make it? Or is he going to be one of these guys that it hangs about the youth setup and it's great to have them there, and they've been around Scotland for a little bit, they fall in love with the country, and then he just disappears? Is he going to actually make the step up? Do you think, Tony?
Well, that's $1 million question. Kevin, I certainly think he can. He definitely can, There's just one thing I was going to say about with regard to himself and Tony Watt was I feel he's a wee bit shy when he's playing alongside Tony, It's because Tony's a bit more popular amongst a lot of people, I would say, and that kind of takes a bit of the how do you say, the limelight from Bruden, you know. But no, when Bruden feels like he can dominate the game. I mean, I've seen him play this season, and I mean it's only small teams he's playing, but I've seen him totally boss a match, you know, and the game's gone from the other team before it's even anywhere near half time, because he's just passed here, there, and everywhere, and just finished the game off nicely for from Celtic's point of view. So I think he could do it. It just needs a good chance, you know.
Well, I guess we're potentially, again, depending what happens in the Motherwell game later on today or tonight or the early hours of tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world, we could become champions in a matter of hours. But I must admit, I would honestly like to see Motherwell getting their results so that we do it ourselves and we don't win the league without kicking a ball. There's just something about having to do something to win the league rather than it being handed on a plate to you. So I'm hoping that Motherwell get their result later on so that we can do it in the Cali Thistle game later on in the weekend. But I mean, I guess still just to finish off on the youth setup in the chat. Hopefully, if we do clinch the league at the weekend, that we do take the opportunity to get a few more of these younger players into the team and let them experience some first team action. I know I'd be very keen to see that happen. I'm sure there's quite a lot of people that don't get a chance to see the youth players now that would like to see that happen as well, but I'm pretty sure, damn sure there'd be a lot back home that would like to see some of the youngsters given an opportunity as well. Let them, as you said earlier on, Tony, it's important that they get some exposure to playing in front of larger crowds, potentially in front of television cameras. So here's hoping we do see
it's all development, you know. It's all about trying to get them into the first team eventually over time, you know. I mean, as well as that's the under-20s and that. I mean, there's a few other guys I've not mentioned there. They're obviously is good. I mean, if they're given them a chance, they probably do quite well. But there's the under-17s as well. They've got some excellent players. There's 4 young players there that are really good. Callum Waters has been the captain now. He's been playing left back, you know.
Yep.
He's small but very fast. Connor McManus is excellent. He's a wee bit like Paul McStay in the middle, and Liam Henderson sort of dominates the game. So Connor and Liam are a great team there, and then Paul McMullen is the one that scores all the goals. But as I say, those 4 I'm talking about there, the other guys in the team are also capable. You know, over a year, 2 years, so much can happen with a kid. You know, he can change and grow and develop and mature. So you know, some come, some go. And then just to finish, I went to a match last night. That was the first time I've seen this team, but that was the under-16 team.
Okay.
And it was Celtic. It was up at Lennoxtown. Celtic won 5-0 against a team from Boston.
Get in there.
That's we battered them. FC Bolts, you know. FC Bolts Celtic or something. It's like an affiliate team in Boston. I think there's another one in Philadelphia or whatever, but this one is from the Boston area, and we gubbed them, you know, so 5-0. But no, thing was the Boston team only train 2 or 3 times a week, whatever. With Celtic would be training like 5 days, maybe twice a day as well, and then they're all in school together as well, so they kind of know each other fairly well. But the Celtic boys had a bit like almost had like 2 teams. The first half had a shed load of guys, absolutely brilliant, and then the second half they had another shed load of guys, and they were brilliant. But I was asking the Boston guys, what's the story with like New York Red Bull and all these? Have they got academy teams? Are they any good? And the boy was saying they're really fast, maybe much faster than Celtic, much fitter, more athletic, but they're not in any way near as technical or as tactical as Celtic would be, you know. So that was quite interesting.
A different insight anyway. But the bottom line is we humped them 5-0, Tony, which is outstanding, which is great. And any Celtic team, any Celtic, it doesn't matter what level.
Any sport, whatever, tiddlywinks, you know.
Tiddlywinks, Celtic beating anybody 5-0 at something is a good thing. We like it. Right, guy, Tony, thanks for your insight into the youth setup there, and it's
no bother. The invoice is in the post, and no bother.
Shh, I told you to keep that quiet. Nobody's meant to know. Right, on you go, madam.
Because is Celtic planning to come to Australia soon, like in the next year or 2?
Well, I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, obviously with the connection with Tom Rogic now, or Rogic, or whatever, with Jackson and that. But no, I'm not too
And
sure.
there's the training
I
stuff
thought
over
was
in
there not
Perth
some talk
as well.
about it? Were you guys not talking about it recently? I know that
can I
10th of
give-
August was supposed to be play Liverpool, but I don't think they're going to go
Can
to
I
Australia.
give-
You know.
I'll give you a little bit of insight to this, folks, because he's staying quite quiet just now, but our good friend there in Victoria, Mr. Patrick Close,
Yeah, I
was
saw what
April.
you did.
It was April the 1st, 18 days ago, and Pat Close, being the hilarious man that he is, decided to start a little April Fool going, saying, Celtic are coming to Australia, Celtic are coming to Australia. Now, Pat, can you shed any more light on this, mate? Because you've got some people going here.
So it was a really bad line. I think we should just move on to another subject.
You're
No,
a
there was
disgrace of a man. You're a disgrace of a
there were
man.
there were still
All
people
these-
there were people contacting me about a week after it, and but I tweeted like 2 minutes after it saying, you better look at the time and date, boys. I said it was going to be on
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I've already booked a flight here. Wait, what's happening?
This was Pat's hilarious April Fool.
Oh, come on! Look,
I was going to fly over and deal with him.
Well, I said, to be fair, I said Celtic were playing. I think I said Melbourne Victory, Melbourne Heart on the 12th of July. I mean, seriously, come on. Anyway, some people fell for it.
War on 12th of July.
Yeah, no, shut up, right? Shut up, woman.
So that did happen.
Right, well, Can I cut her off this thing?
No.
I can. Can I?
No.
Madam has given us some good and very welcome female participation. Actually, I don't know how many other podcasts have females coming on. So thank you, Madam, for joining us tonight.
Just say her name, because I'm writing it's right on the tip of my tongue.
I will only say her name if she grants us permission.
Can you say Mar? Go and say Mar at least. That's.
She's got so many pseudonyms, you don't know. It's either Mar, Femar, Miss Minsky's, or Madam now is the new one, of course.
Well, poor Jim's on the end of the line. He's got about 4 seconds of actually chatting time in there. So maybe chat to Jim just for a few minutes, Kev.
Do you know what I was going? Do you know what I was going to do? I was going to come to Jim first because I don't. Well, first of all, Jim, I will ask you then. I'll ask you, did you have anything in particular you wish to discuss tonight?
No, I've just not heard from you boys for a while, so I just thought I'd give you a call up and find out what's happening.
Well, here,
you're a good
I'll
man.
get him.
See, Jim just comes on for the banter, Pat.
That's it,
He's not
exactly.
got any. He's not got any.
Nothing to add.
He's got no hidden agendas or April Fools like you have, mate. He just comes on and enjoys himself.
Enough. I reckon what we'll ask Jim about.
And he's obviously not got any good pals if he's coming on here to listen to your banter.
That's
well, that you said as well.
Madam, now come on.
All my pals were watching the New Zealand Australia game tonight, so I never heard from them.
Oh, the rugby's on the night. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The egg chasing.
See, I work with a lot of Maori boys, so they were going out to watch that tonight. So
you thought you'd settle for?
So you
thought you'd settle for second best? Come on, yeah.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel there, Jim boy.
What can I say? It's either that or getting a pub full of Maoris. It's usually a safer choice here.
Well, let's get Jim involved, and I want to ask Jim what he thinks of Neil Lennon and his potty mouth incident that with his 3-match ban. So, have you read much on that, Jim?
I have. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? It really is. What can you add to that? It's utterly ridiculous. I think it was at Celtic that said it's going to be full on a Monday morning. Hampden. Well, I think they'd probably be right with that.
Well, I'm just waiting on his press conferences. He's said that I think the line was his press conference today is going to be a lot of fun. So it'll be interesting to hear what he says. I'm sort of keep looking on Twitter to see if he said anything yet, but nothing.
What is that? Is that what Lenny tweeted himself?
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh well, so, maybe he's going to surprise us with that. I doubt it though.
Well, I haven't seen anything yet, but I'll certainly keep an eye on it, see if anything comes up. But nothing quite at this stage that I can see anyway. But yeah, I think
maybe he's going to launch the new Iron Brew advert for the next Fanny. No. And I know I think it's funny, but have they done anything with Charles Green yet? Because he was the one making racist statements, whereas Lenny only just called somebody a fanny. which most people
That's
do.
true.
And that's actually more polite than.
It's a very good point. The last time I checked, fanny was not a racist term.
No.
Good point, madam.
Or sectarian.
It's not sectarian either.
Well, go back to look. Let's look at other sort of similar incidents. Like Terry Butcher apparently punched the living suitcase out of one of the sort of benches, or the sort of the cover area where the benches are, and all it basically, I think it was like no reports, no nothing, and apparently Inverness said that they would pay the fee for getting this sort of thing fixed. So if he can bang and crash and kick this thing to the point where it breaks in front of everyone seeing it, and I think who was it? Somebody on BBC, I think it was Jim Spence, was kind of joking about it, like he saw what happened, but he wasn't going to tell, pretty much. And they were kind of trying to judge that against Neil Lennon of, well, Lennon did a sweary word that, that, let's face it, like I hear that in my work every single day, and I work in an office. I hear worse than that in an office every single day. And he's getting suspended. Well, he's not getting suspended for that. It's a suspended sentence from his last one, and it's pretty much along.
Behaviour bond.
Yeah, I think it was. It was like to the end of the season or something like that. And yeah, if he get pulled up with anything else, then he got a 3-game suspension. But really, I mean, if you're not appealing that, then yeah, I'd be sending letters and complaining about stuff like that as well, because what he did happens every single game. Okay, not everyone gets picked up.
Can I just jump in there?
Pat, on you go, Tony.
It was a couple of things about this. One thing, Stuart Gilmore, he's the St Mirren chairman, yeah? And I was looking through his Twitter timeline, as you do, the other day, and he retweeted something just using the exact same words, So that's already written down there for people to see, that he's sent that out to folk. So, I mean, Lenny shouted it out in the dugout, but he's written it down. That was Stuart Gilmore. The second one was, I don't know if you remember that, the interview Walter Smith did with Chick Young 100 years ago after a European game, whatever, about Basil Boli and all that. I was watching that wee video clip on YouTube, Walter Smith and Chick Young interview, and your man was cursing and swearing 24 times. I counted it myself, just because just out of interest, just to see. 24 times, man, and I mean, it's been viewed by 800,000 people or something like that on the thing. So, I mean, obviously you don't go back in history and dig up this, that and the next, but I'm just reading Lenny's quotes here off the Celtic Football Club, Celtic FC Twitter thing, and basically Lenny's saying it's petty and it's a can of worms and all that stuff. So
I think that the only crime that Lenny did was actually get caught on live television swearing. That was basically it.
Well, he's not the first.
Absolutely, that thing was as well.
Exactly, Jim. Exactly.
And I've actually saw a lot worse. You can read their lips. They say a lot worse than Fanny.
Yeah, that's true. You're infatuated with Fanny tonight, madam.
It's Fanny Friday for me. I have a can of Iron Brew every Friday afternoon. Yeah.
I see.
Don't you watch my Twitter feed?
Oh, I do. You're the first one I look for every time I'm on.
Right, boys, I've just went to the Celtic FC Twitter feed, and they let the press conferences on right now. I'll just read out some of the comments. So he's said, "It's 4 hours of my life I'll never get back, a complete waste of time, effort, and sums up a lot about football in this country. It's petty. That sort of language is used in every game. I'm not condoning it, but it's opened a huge can of worms for the SFA." He's then said, "Do I think swearing is acceptable in dugout? Yes. How are you going to stop it? It's used every day in all environments." Well said, Lenny. "Why all of a sudden are we sanitising the game? If that's the case, every player will be booked, sent off. We'll be playing five-a-side football. It's so pedantic, so petty. Anytime you see a manager swearing, is he going to be brought up in front of them now?" So this goes on and on. It's just like comment after comment after comment. He's basically said I'll sit my 3-match ban, but what's coming for the SFA? It's a storm. So all these things, he's obviously, I'll watch. I'll tune into Celtic TV a bit later, or probably early tomorrow morning, and so I'll watch what he says. So.
Well, he's been quite cute what he's saying there, actually, because that is putting a bit of pressure on the SFA, because it's really saying that if there's any other language gets picked up by microphones on live games, or potentially if you do, people could make complaints if they see somebody as Madam said earlier on there, if you see somebody, it's easy to lip read these guys. If somebody makes a justifiable complaint about that, what are the SFA going to do about it? They're setting a precedence by targeting Lenny, and I think Lenny's been quite clever what he's doing there. He's by coming out and saying that, he's putting additional pressure on them, and who knows, there might be a barload of complaints coming in and they might need to react. Plenty more paperwork for the SFA potentially.
Well, it's actually another interesting one, not on that same subject, but he's got Neil on Stokes, it says. We will be offering Anthony a new contract. So I think that's good news.
Yeah, I think that's quite good. I'm going to go through just a couple of more tweets here, folks, that we've had in while we've been talking. Jim Kinlan makes reference again to the Glasgow Cup final, which is going to be I don't want to mention, Jim, you mentioned the OF word down there, or the OF phrase. I don't like using that term anymore because that team are no longer with us. But it's a Celtic Young Zombie Sevco team in the final. Jim's asking any thoughts on what the crowd will be for that. Richie Bam Bam has tweeted in after that saying he reckons it's going to be a sellout. The Green Brigade will be there and they'll be in top form, of course. But of course there'll be 2,000 police in the Celtic end, is what Richie Bam Bam says. He might not be far wrong there, actually. When is the Glasgow Cup final? Tony, you'll know about that.
It's a week on Monday, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. It's at Hampden, yeah?
No, it's actually at Partick Thistle's Firhill. It's 7 o'clock kickoff.
Okay, Firhill for thrills.
Hello.
You'll be going along to that, Tony.
Yeah, so I've just added another one of our.
Donsky.
Yeah, he's just called in. I think if we get 5 people on a call, it's starting to affect Skype. So if he's still there, if there's anyone willing to drop out, anyone sort of think better things to do.
I'll drop out. How's that? I'll drop out.
You can't drop out.
Is that Jim? Is that you?
Yeah, I'll drop out, boys. I'm trying to get myself a couple of beers and sit in front of the television.
Good on you, Jim.
Okay,
listen,
guys.
Thanks a million for
No
dialing
problem.
in. Hopefully we'll get you on at a later date as well, mate. And enjoy your R&R, Jim. Enjoy your R&R.
Catch you later on, boys. See you
Thanks,
later.
Jim.
Hail, boys. Bye.
But I can drop off now as well, but I have to mention Colin Kennedy, who's listening and too scared to dial up.
Oh.
Colin Melbourne.
Colin from Melbourne. Jesus, Colin. He lives just down the road from me as well. Colin, get your arse in gear, buddy. Well, we've actually tried to get Jim Kinlan in as well. Poor Jim's tried a couple of times, and but yeah, well said. Well, it's good
to see. And Madam, one of these days you'll maybe come out the closet and tell everybody what your actual name is. But we'll keep you as Miss Minsky's VMAR, MA, or Madam.
I'm dropping out a bit, I think, as well. Do you want me to go off? Because then...
Well, we don't want you to go, but if you want to go yourself, then you can.
But lovely speaking to you. I'll speak to you again.
And you. See you, VMAR.
No, I'm dropping in and out.
Right, just hit the red button,
right,
VMAR.
Take care. See you. Bye.
See you later.
I've hit it, and it's not you, Charlene. It's gone.
I'm cutting her off. She's
stuck.
Right.
You
You're gone.
Drop me out because it's still working.
Right. See ya. 3, 2, 1. You're gone. Cheerio, bye.
Yeah. Right. Cheerio.
See ya.
She's Gonski. She's Gonski Donsky.
She's Gonski. Now, have we got Kralski Donsky on?
We have.
I'm here, lads. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine, mate. We can hear you fine. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you can probably tell, I'm no Balkan. I'm not from Croatia, Serbia. I did one state online that was Kosovo, but that was a bit of a wind-up. Glasgow boy.
Yep.
Listened to your show a couple of times. It's good to hear a different perspective from those who find it difficult to tune in. Not to tune in, but to go to games and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's good it was good to see the team going down to Australia a couple of years ago. I picked up on a bit where saying is there any chance of the team going back down. I think what Tony said about Tom Rogic.
Yep.
Certainly, you never know. That's also another way to tap back into the market, kind of thing. I mean.
Yep.
So I think maybe it's something that's maybe you might see is going to happen again, maybe next couple of years. But I know, kind of talking about going back to the States this season again.
Well, that's been canned though. Yeah, that's been canned though. I think they said they were there was maybe a few friendlies on. So I think I read during the week that they cancelled that, saying because of the Champions League qualifiers. And I think this is I think we're going to be up against this even in Australia. Like, we'd love for them to come down every 2, 3, 4 years.
We're slightly biased there, Pat, aren't we?
I know we are biased, and just a touch.
My show.
Yeah. I mean, it was great when they came here. It was the buzz around the place was amazing. Up in Sydney and over in Perth and in Melbourne, it was just such a good laugh. But I think the Champions League qualifiers, considering that we're going to be up there, qualifying 3 rounds for the next foreseeable future anyway, I think that puts a stop to all the tours going overseas and stuff like that, because I just read just now that I think it was on the same Twitter thing that the Celtic one was at Wanyama and Ledley, I think it was, are basically on gardening leave. They're away for 10 days or something. Did I just read that right? It was something like that anyway. So Kyle and Wanyama, they've gone for 10 days and then they're coming back for the cup final to be part of it. So I just think with the Champions League qualifiers coming up now that foreseeable future that we've got no chance, I think, of seeing these guys coming down under. So unless it's a sort of youth team.
Does anyone know what's the cycle? What's the Champions League coefficient point cycle? Was it 4 or 5 years? Do you know every 5 years it for instance, you gain points over 3 or 4 years. I think it's after 4 years or 5 years they just cancel out and start again.
Well, I think that's right. I think because weren't we kind of living off the Rangers UEFA Cup, Europa League run? I think that finished something like last year, so that's maybe why we're back to the 3 qualifying. I don't know.
There's a great site, guys, that a website that if you go onto it, if you Google Bert Cassis, he's a Dutch guy, Bert space Kassis, Bert Cassis. I think the website is called XS for All. It's the letter X, letter S, number 4, and then ALL. If you go in there, this guy has put a lot of work into how the whole UEFA coefficient thing works and stuff like that. And it's basically got all your information on it that you need. It explains the whole thing, and it also shows you where Celtic will be in the rankings and stuff like that as well, about and how the point system and how it does. You're right what you're saying, Kralski, that it kind of drops off after X amount of seasons. I think it's 5 seasons is what it goes with. And for a while, obviously the Seville season was keeping their coefficient right up there for a while. But as soon as that dropped off, that's why we dramatically went down the UEFA rankings, because we had earned so many points from that. As soon as that season dropped off, we had a huge kind of dip, unfortunately. But it's quite an interesting site if you pay it a little visit, because there's quite a bit of information on there.
I put a blog on the Celtic Network about how the coefficients work and how they're important, because also I was looking at the difference between last season's coefficients of points and this season's coefficients of points and how they work. Yep. I was also looking at, if you look at teams like Man City, and how they've never really had a European history, and how they were getting put in as 4th seeds in their groups. So they were champions of England, but they were 4th seeds, and it was all because they've never really had a European history. Also, that made it also more difficult for them to get an easier group to then progress and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, from that sense, I think it was midway through the group with Celtic. I think we'd already well beat, but let's get on by the time I gathered the points, we'd already well beaten the points that we got the season before. Yeah. So obviously after that, you've then got another 3 games, then you've got to win the 2 games against Juventus, kind of thing. I mean, so obviously they do. I don't know. Obviously, when we're talking about in terms of time frames, I think we'll possibly look maybe another 2 or 3 years or something. Then we'll start living off this year's good run.
Hopefully that'll happen.
Oh, it would be great to see a team coming, all the way down to Australia. Maybe not New Zealand. It's maybe not quite got the stadia and that sort of stuff for it. But you just look at like Liverpool are coming out. I don't know if they're where else they're going in Australia, but they're coming to Melbourne around the same time as when Celtic came. So I think it's sort of middle of July-ish. And I mean, this is, I guess, the pool of the English Premier League, but they've pretty much getting close to selling out the MCG. The MCG is like a 90,000 seater stadium. They'd sold some like 60,000 tickets in the first day. It was just bizarre. I mean, the interest in football is here. It's just a shame it would be great if they end up having some sort of tournament down here with someone like that. But to have that sort of crowd in Melbourne,
you've got to remember though, Pat. Like, I mean, I know that you don't have Foxtel obviously or Fox Sports, but over here again for the guys back home, you get your English Premier League is shown here every single weekend, and you can pretty much watch any game you want from the English Premier League on the red button over here if you've got Fox Sports. So it's saturated coverage of the English Premier League. So yes, you'll have your expats that will be out here, but you've also got huge amounts of Aussies that they support the EPL. They have an EPL team because of that coverage that they get. I mean, even the guys that talk about the A-League over here in Oz as well, when they're going on about it, they've got an EPL team that they support and they follow. So it wouldn't surprise me, Pat, if they could sell out the MCG, no problem, simply because it's in their face all the time, whereas we know we've got massive worldwide support, but unfortunately, unless you make a real effort to try to watch us, you don't get that. We don't get the same coverage by any manner of means. So I've no doubt if we were in that English Premier League, or if they broadcast Scottish Premier League games on Aussie TV over here, I reckon we'd be doing the exact same thing, to be honest.
See, Fox Sports is Rupert Murdoch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's equivalent of Sky Sports, Kralski, yeah.
Aye. So pretty much Fox Sports and Sky Sports. Now, over here, Liverpool TV is free.
Yep.
Do you know if that's the same down there?
Is
that part of the Fox Sports package?
I don't think you can get it here, but I know that they sometimes show, as part of a programme, they'll maybe show a bit of Liverpool TV, maybe an hour or something like that. They'll maybe do a little bit of that. I'm not sure if you can. I'm not sure if you can subscribe to it completely over here. I'm not too sure on that, but you're right what you're saying. Yeah, it's the equivalent of Sky. It's still a little bit behind Sky as far as their technology. I know over there you've had Sky Go for a little while and things like that. Foxtel, they've called it Foxtel Go, funnily enough, over here as well. But that's only honestly came in to us the last 2 or 3 months, something like that.
Actually, Kev, I think at one stage, I don't know if it still is, but they actually had Liverpool TV on free to air. It was on like Channel 1 or Channel 11, one of these ones, at one stage. It was late at night, admittedly, but they'd show like an hour of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's still ongoing. It's just, again, I tend to watch Scottish games. Like I'll watch the SPL channel, that sort of stuff. But I mean, that sort of thing would be great over here. But when Celtic, remember they used to have it on Setanta as well. They had a Celtic TV pretty much. It was broadcast through Setanta, and that kind of disappeared as well. So we're just never going to get the exposure. It's just there's not that enough.
That was my point in terms of, I think actually Paul Larkin, I've heard mention it a few times. I'm sure Paul phones in to you guys, and I've heard him mention a few times. In terms of marketing, I think we should be marketing Celtic TV. Obviously I don't use the channel 67, is it called, the online channel, but I heard it's quite poor at times. I mean, they should be plugging that, they should be providing that a lot better service to, obviously, guys like yourselves over in the States, other countries, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we've spoken about that a few times, and it's the quality is, like, don't get me wrong, it's good to have something. That's the plus point. I'd rather have that sort of quality than try to find some sort of dodgy stream online somewhere. But at the same time, like they promote it as if it's some sort of high definition, because I pay more for my subscription just to get sort of, I forget what they call it, premium. That's it. It's Celtic TV Premium, and it's meant to be, you can play this on a widescreen TV. Now you can, but it's crap. I watch it on a laptop, and it kind of pixelates even on a laptop. So, you know what I mean. So it's difficult, but yeah, it does. I mean, we were using ESPN3 to watch some of the Champions League games, which is basically ESPN's Australian online. So what you had, ESPN would show a game live on cable TV, but all the other Champions League games you could watch online, and the quality was exceptional. It was really, really, really impressive. You could watch that on a 50-inch plasma, So it's that's kind of what they got to aim for. But yeah, I've been tempted. I don't know if anyone listening to this is from overseas, not from Scotland or in America or whatever, who does watch Celtic TV. I'm at the stage where I think I should start complaining about it, because the quality is fairly shady. I'm sure they can do better.
Anyway, Pat, just complain, mate. Just start complaining.
As I said, I'm happy with the fact that I've got something, so maybe I should just be thankful for that. But the quality is.
No. I disagree, lads. I think we really need to step it up, man. Our club should be doing a lot more for our fans, and we just need to keep. I don't know. You can through official channels and just to ramp it right up. Was it Beyond the Waves or something? It was on last week. I was listening to Graham and the Rev were talking about the quality of streams and all this stuff. Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah, loud and clear.
That's good, Kevin, because it conked out before. But anyway, no, I mean, I don't know, have you got Celtic TV for the iPad?
I don't believe so, no.
No, definitely not. We've not even got a Celtic application really yet, have we? Or it's one of those Mickey Mouse. It's one of those Mickey Mouse ones that every single club's got.
So I mean, we're way behind, I mean, I don't know how much money do we spend on this, or do we focus on it? I mean, apparently there's money waiting to be handed to Celtic from various fans who just have not been connected to yet. Just because we're slow in the uptake in terms of technology and all. I mean, as I said earlier, the podcasts from the Lost Boys have been going on since 2008 or something. And I remember Chris and Jerry and the lads there, Jamie, talking about technology and these types of things since at least 2008, and then they had Tony Hamilton was on, and young Gregor was on, and they were kind of chatting away about it. But how much money has been put and ploughed into that to revamp it? We're way behind. We need to do something about it. I think we really need to have some sort of plan of action, in order to get the club moving on that, because the guys sitting in the boardroom, they're probably only going to do stuff in response to what we heckle them to do, So I really think we should come up with some plan of action. It might take a few weeks, whatever, but we should get a 5 or 10 point plan and just put it to them and start going again, Because all these things are essential for a club like the size of Celtic, And another thing, Celtic moving into the English Premier League and all this stuff, man. This is a lot of waffle. I was looking the other day at trying to get Celtic into some sort of lower club or something. Buy a club down there and try and over years get us up the leagues and all this. I mean, this is the kind of thing we need to be looking at. I was talking to one of the online colleagues, one of the internet bampots, and he was saying that. We need to really get approval from the league in order to kind of promote and to forward such an action. I mean, this is where we're going to struggle. If we're having to publicise and then ask for permission from ball bags and the SFA and SFL and all that, we're going to struggle to get our club developed and, promoted and globalised, and become as big as Barca and Real Madrid, But we've got to do something about it, We can't dwindle away in the SPL like that,
You're right, basically, speaking, look at the issues we've got trying to restructure our own leagues, right? You've got too many chairmen for self-interest, right? They can't come together and they can't just say, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll sacrifice a wee bit. We'll sacrifice maybe if we bring in another team, we'll sacrifice maybe the fact that we might get relegated next season. All that kind of thing. You go down England and you've got teams like, let's say we're talking about straight to the Premier League, you've got teams like, I don't know, you've got Southampton, you've got Aston Villa that are struggling. I mean, are they going to risk their, £60 million? And that's obviously from the bottom. That's from finishing bottom, £60 million. They're going to risk that £60 million plus just to allow the possibility of another team coming in. Then you look at the Championship, you've got the top, you've got Cardiff, you've got Hull, City. Are they going to say, okay, well, yeah, what we'll do just to bring Celtic in, are we going to risk our promotion place? And it was all the way further down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all the way further down. You were teams in League Two will go, well, if we bring in another team, that means that we're risking getting put in a conference. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think if we were going to see Celtic, I was going to say all them, but if we were going to see Celtic playing in another league, it's going to be part of a European type thing. It's going to be part of where teams are put together.
Yep, I was just going to say that, Krauske, actually. I think there's been the talk about the EPL's been going on for too long, and I'll be honest, I would prefer a European type league. And I think that would be the next stepping stone for UEFA. Money talks at the end of the day, and I could visualise there being all the top clubs from the top leagues that have got the fan base, that have got a TV audience there, basically from right around the world. So yes, you'd have your Barças, yes, you'd have your Real Madrids, yes, you'd have your AC Milans, and your Man U's, all that kind of stuff. But I would see us being involved in that, not because of the size of population of Scotland, because they always seem to use this. They always go on about the TV audiences in the country they play in. If UEFA are serious, it's got to be a league that appeals to the population right across the world. So if you've got a product there that you're inviting Celtic along because you've got a knowledge that there's a worldwide fan base there, you are going to be able to sell that to Australia, to New Zealand, to the US, to Canada, and everywhere else where there's Celtic fans right across the world. So would we be considered for a kind of European Super League like
Kevin,
that?
I was just going to say there, Kevin, I don't know if you spoke about it earlier, but I mean, we've probably lost out on £1 million, just from this, whatever it is, New York, Miami tournament taking place in August,
Yeah.
We're supposed to be tagging along with Juventus, Real Madrid, Barca, I don't know, a few EPL teams and Galatasaray, this kind of thing. So I looked at the calendar for the Champions League, and the very tail end of July is when the third qualifying round is, so we unfortunately, there's no way we could attend that American tournament, but there you go, that's like £1 million or more probably we've lost out on, so, but there certainly would be an interest in it, you're just saying there,
I think so, and I must admit, hearing what you've just said there, though, I'm quite glad we've decided not to do that, because I'd much rather sacrifice £1 million for some friendly comp and give us the best possible chance of getting into the Champions League, where there's far more money to be made. So I think that's the right decision.
There's no question. Champions League's a priority, no question about it. But I'm just saying, I think it bounces back to what you were mentioning earlier about the coefficient and all that kind of thing. If we had qualified straight into the playoffs or even the group stage, whatever, then we would have been free to attend such events, and even visit Australia and whenever, this kind of thing. But because we're having to mess about in these pre-qualifying tournaments and these pre-qualifying fixtures, it's not there for us, But
it doesn't help.
We'll see how it goes.
Craig, who was on earlier and was running alongside tractors and 62 buses, has just tweeted in to say that there's reports from now I don't know, is this a wind-up or not for us, but reports from the BBC saying that Chico Green has stepped down. So I don't know if there's any truth in that, or is Craig just winding us up here? But
well, see, I think it was Phil McGillivan said something similar, something the other night about him being on gardening leave.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm hearing Charles Green is walking away.
Is there a song? Is there a song about walking away? We'll need to get that YouTube clip, Pat, on one of these days. Get the audio for that clown that did his walking away nonsense.
That was a classic.
Jesus, mate. Oh my God.
The source I've just found is Chris McLaughlin, so take into that what you want. BBC Scotland has learned Charles Green has indicated to the Rangers board he will step down as CEO. That was on Twitter.
There you go. I must admit, guys, see when I saw his interview, over here you're able to actually, it depends actually. Sometimes you can go on the STV website and you're able to watch certain video clips and things like that. It just depends your luck basically. But anyway, I saw the clip of his interview. I can't remember the interviewer, but it was his interview
Peter something it was.
Peter Adam Smith.
That was one.
I can't remember the interviewer, but it was his interview about his racist comments to his colleague and fellow board member Ahmed, I think was his name, or Ahmad, and so we all know how that went. But I've honestly never seen a more uncomfortable guy in my life. And see, towards the end of that interview, it was as if he was wishing people to say to him, "Get to," because he kept going on about we've got an AG. I mean, we've got an AGM. We've got an AGM in August and all this, so you can vote me out. And
that's quite good.
It's brilliant.
Did you like that? But I thought, do you know what?
He's been practicing that.
I thought, do you know what? That guy
should phone up Tommy from Glasgow.
I thought this guy is trying to work his exit now, because he knows he's walking away. He bought those shares for a penny. They're now, I know they've been dropping in price and stuff like that, but they're worth about what? The last time I heard they were
59p,
yeah, 59.
Something like that, right? So he bought them all for a penny. They're now worth 59p. This guy's been looking for a get-out card for quite a little while. So this is his chance, playing his little racist card and all the rest of it is coming on. That guy was just, that particular interview for me says, you're just wanting out of here as quickly as possible. So this is him taking his opportunity to step down now, and he'll walk away quids in, and that's so Craigie White's done his business for us. Chico Greenall have done his business for us. We just need the Alex Gold to come in now as well.
Kev, we'll use it as a little segue into this. Was something I think actually I think Kralski was mentioned working on this last week as well. This is roughly last Friday, Saturday it was. There was a hashtag going around with Sevco quiz shows. Yep. I don't know if you guys read something. I copied some of them down just for about, I think some of them are quite funny. So see if some of these get you. So this is Sevco quiz shows, right? This is different people on Twitter.
What are we meant to do here, Pat, when you read them out?
Oh, I just think some are pretty funny. This is a light-hearted look at Sevco. So the Sevco quiz shows. It was Wheel of Misfortune. Would I Lie to You? There's The Price is White, which I thought was pretty good. Mm-hmm. There's 16 out of 90 cats. They think it's all over. A question of sporting integrity. Whose club is it anyway? So there's all these ones I think are pretty funny last week. 15 to Hun. The liquidation game. So my two efforts were Treasure Hunt and Hun Around. If anyone remembers Run Around from the old Mike Reid days. So that was my contribution to that last week. Yeah, good old Mike Reid CSC.
The good thing about Twitter is that see within minutes of some being released, news being released, the Celtic supporters on Twitter just jump right onto it, man. That mean it's like Celtic TV shows, Celtic quiz shows. That mean Celtic films, Charles Green films. So
that's a good one.
About Charles Green. Oh, you go, sorry.
No, this is a good one actually. Twitter. I just picked this up. I don't know why I didn't pan to the top. This is another one from Celtic. This is the last one I can see, and it was this is again Neil Lennon. He said he doubtful Brown will be fit for the cup final. And he said he can play for Scotland, but I don't feel like doing any favours for the SFA just now. It's pretty good.
Who says that? Scott Brown or Lennon?
That was Lennon. Yeah.
That was Lennon. Well, good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. Oh, he'll no doubt get pulled up for that as well. That'll be him. He'll be castigated in front page news in the papers tomorrow morning and stuff like that.
Do you know what though? For 5 games can stand. You know what I mean? Give Big Dolph a run out and his manager. Why did he chill out for 5 games now? You know what I mean? Before the cup final. Let him see what he wants to. That's what I see.
Yeah.
He deserves a rest.
Kevin, there's a question for you.
Go on.
It's just a quick one. It might be quick, I don't know. Neil Lennon, how long do you think he'll be Celtic manager?
Oh, Tony, now, if regular listeners to this podcast will know my view on this. Now, how long do I think, or how long would I want? Because what I've said in the past is I'm a massive fan of Neil Lennon. I know he's got his knockers. I know there's people that say he can be tactically naive and all that stuff. To me, Neil Lennon is a die-hard Celt. He's got all those other attributes that all of us want in a Celtic manager. we sometimes have managers that come and go, and you know they've got great experience and stuff, but you know he's just not got that Celtic connection. Lenny is steeped in the club. He bleeds green and white, and I think he's got the potential that if we stick by him in the same way as like an Arsenal would stand by Arsene. I'm not trying to compare him to Arsene Wenger or Alex Ferguson, but see if we just keep some faith in a manager for a good number of years rather than feel we need to change them every 3, 4, 5 years. Or let's face it, before there was a period we were changing them every bloody season. I would love to see us stick with Lenny and see where he could take us. Players will come and go, but see if we can keep Lenny there for a period of time. How long we could keep him for, or people would want him for, I don't know. But I have got no wishes to say goodbye to Neil Lennon as Celtic manager at this point in time at all. I think he's done a great job with the money he's got to spend, the players he's got to work with. Okay, we've maybe not got huge competition just now in the SPL, but let's dust that to the side for 1 second and see what he did. Him and the players and his backroom staff and everybody involved. He still got us, if you're looking for measurements, he still got us into the last 16 of the Champions League, and it wasn't by any fluke. Beating Barcelona, nearly getting a result in the Nou Camp, beating Barcelona at Celtic Park. I mean, you could bring in, if a Martin O'Neill had done that, or any other manager for that matter, they'd have been singing his praises. Sometimes I think fans are a little bit too critical and too quick to criticise Lennon for various aspects of his managerial style and things like that, and you know, all the tactical stuff as well. I absolutely love the guy, and I would have him there for for as long as he wants to be there, basically, and as long as he's still feeling the passion of managing Celtic. There's my view on it. On you go, Kalski.
Aye, thank you. I think this current season, will be Lenny's biggest challenge. For me, well, obviously he's had a lot of challenges. Obviously in terms of managing Celtic, and also managing the team. Because what we've got now, I think there's too many players in the team just now that pretty much need to look elsewhere in terms of going elsewhere and playing football. You know what I mean? I think there's too many players, maybe their head is elsewhere. And I think a biggest part of managing a successful football side for long term is turnover a squad. Mm-hmm. Basically, putting players out and bringing new players in and continue to be successful. You know what I mean? Look at Fergie's been doing it for ever since, you know what I mean? Celtic started becoming successful, and he's had to make really hard decisions, but also bring in replacements who've just been as good, if not better, you know what I mean? I think Lenny is at a stage now where there's a few big players at Celtic just now possibly are better to go, obviously leading into other players coming in and obviously just make a further push on, you know what I mean? Rather than just go, okay, well, what we'll do, next season we'll win a league. I mean, maybe Lenny's what to say, well, no, what we'll do is we'll try and achieve what we achieved this season. So, still, at least get to the Champions League, push on in the Champions League, see if we can qualify. If we qualify, then obviously we've got Europa League and so on. But we still need to obviously try and ensure that we win the league and we get into that Champions League as well.
Yep.
Obviously, we can look at it and say, okay, Wanyama might go. He might say, okay, we'll bring the boy in. Rogic is already there. Rogic is ready for it. Rogic can come in and it works out a wonder. Perfect, you know what I mean? Turn over a squad. Hooper goes, he might go and buy a striker, or he might say, okay, Tony Watt, there you go, Tony Watt goes in, he's brilliant, there we go, turn over a squad. That kind of thing. So I think that's his biggest challenge just now. And do you know something? I think that's what Martin O'Neill has lacked, not just at Celtic, but other teams he's been with as well. If you notice about Martin O'Neill, when Martin O'Neill goes and joins a team, he'll come in with this big rush. And I thought it was brilliant for the first couple of years, you know what I mean? But then the big rush that he had in terms of his teams winning 5, for what I can remember, his first couple of seasons, we were completely dominating the league. You know what I mean? We were easily beating teams. But then as he got to the end of his tenure, we were struggling. I mean, we're counting on too many 1-0 results. I mean, look at when he went to Aston Villa. He started off really well at Aston Villa, but then when it came to turning over the squad, he wasn't as good as obviously what I'm saying about Fergie. So in that respect, I think this season, that's what winning is to. That's winning's biggest challenge is if there is players that need to go, is first of all realising that they need to go. Because I think there's too many favourites in Lenny's team as well. Realising the players that need to go and also bringing in the ready-made replacements if they're not already there in the first place. I mean,
yeah.
So that's my view.
No, Kralski, thanks for that view. And we've been joined, Tony. I know you asked this question. I'll come back to you in a second, but we've been joined on the call by our good friend Jim Kinlan, who has managed to Skype in. Are you there, Jim?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay.
Can hear you loud and clear, Jim. You've obviously got a good setup there with your Skype, mate.
I'm sitting on an iPad.
I tell you, you're coming across loud and clear. It's very good.
Oh, that's all right. It was good to come and just say hello before the show finished. I don't know how long you're still on for.
Well, now that you've joined us, Jim,
you're going to call
Jim, we'll be another 6 or 7 hours. Is that all right?
I was going to wrap it up, but now that you've joined us, Jim, we'll be on for, as Tony says, another 6 or 7 hours, mate.
That's right.
Jim, let's get your view on this and let's get a little contribution from yourself, if that's okay. But obviously, you've heard us talking about the Neil Lennon there, Tony. Tony put the point across, and it's a good one. What's your own personal views on Neil Lennon as a manager? Should he be hanging around? Should we be looking for a replacement? I
think. I mean, I honestly still see like there's so much more growth to come from the guy. We go through the Champions League campaign this year, and it was so much better than we all sort of dreamed of. But there were still hiccups along the way with the league, and players, half the time it looked like they couldn't be bothered because the league was already won. It's still he's still learning. I still think of him as an apprentice, but you've got to give him pass marks of what he did this year compared to last year, and see where we go next year again with him. I think he's going to be in demand. He's still a very young guy. It's a big job to take on for his first job.
Yeah.
Pass marks every year. I mean, he comes into a club like Celtic, and everybody wants him to be like Martin O'Neill the first year he's around. But he's no. It's going to be a learning process for him every year, and I think he'll have come out this year much better than he came out last year, and I think next year will be the same thing again.
And I think again, Neil Lennon as a manager or just as a human being has had to put up with a hell of a lot more than other football managers have to deal with and put up with. So
that was crazy, man. Yeah, what he's had to do in the past. I just see as well. I mean, I was going to say, you don't have this. His temper's all calmed down and all the rest of it. And I'm not taking into account that 3-match suspension. That's just mental. That touchline ban he got today. But you can just tell he's a much more composed, a much more relaxed guy. He's more into the job now, and maybe because I know he's been a Celtic man forever, but just to take on the enormity of that job in the first place, and then all the crap baggage he's got to take on top of it as well for his first job. I think he's doing great.
Good on you, Jim. Tony, I'll come to you last on this if that's okay, seeing as it was you that asked the question, then we can get your view. Pat, I'll come to you now. We have talked about the Neil Lennon situation in the past, but for everybody else, just give us your view on Lenny.
I guess a mixture of what everyone else says. I think he's still learning on the job. He's still got a lot to learn, and there's a lot more potential to come from him. I think, again, agreeing with what Kralski says, that next year he's got potentially building Team 2. I think we spoke about this a couple of podcasts ago. Was is this the end of an era, or is this the end of Neil Lennon's Team 1? And I think that's what's pretty much going to happen this summer. It'll be interesting to see how he develops it. He's maybe learned about certain positions that he doesn't think it was fulfilled in Team 1, you could say, and he's maybe going to look out for other guys in other positions. And Hooper's, let's face it, he's 95% going. He's got to fill that void as well, unless you try and stick with someone like Stokesy or even Tony Watt. I just get a feeling he doesn't put faith in someone like Tony Watt, so I reckon he'll go out, whether it's someone even like Lee Griffith or whether it's someone like Johnny Russell, someone like that, or John Daly, as we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
That's a fairly sort of big gap to fill as well, and that creative side of it as well. So his team 2 might be a completely different formation, shape, style, everything might just be completely different when it comes to team 2. So it'll be interesting to see how he builds it. So yeah, next year could be a defining moment for him. Is he going to become that sort of great manager who can build a team, or was he just he benefited from Sevco not being there? I don't know, but yeah, I'd like to sort of keep him around for another few years if he wants to be there. But decisions like he got the other day from the SFA, you must just look at it and go, seriously, why am I still in this league? When I get pulled up, I get 3-match suspension for swearing. Seriously, I mean, anyway, we shall see what happens in the summer with the recruits at the AMX.
We shall. Tony, you we've had a fair bit of discussion there actually, so it's obviously been a good point. We've got some strong views on it. You asked the question, what's your own thoughts on Neil Lennon?
Well, it's much in line with what most of the guys were saying. Just there's a few things on that. The first thing is the question itself. It's what every club has to face, on a fairly regular basis. How long is your manager going to be here? So I'm not overly worried about asking it, and it's good that we are asking it amongst ourselves. It's better us asking it than all external forces trying to get shot at the guy and trying to do that. So I mean that's fair dues, The point is, I think I would like to see him there for a good while yet. He's still in some respects a bit of a rookie. Is it 3.5 years he's been there now? Was that 3.5 seasons or something?
That's about right, I think, Tony, yeah.
Something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but now putting some numbers on it, Dermot Desmond was quoted, I think, when he was going into, was it the Cup final last year, at the door, and he was stepping into Hampden, and the reporter, she asked him about Neil Lennon's future or whatever, and your man said, I want Neil Lennon to be here for another 20 years or something, So, so that's his point of view in some respects. Neil Lennon himself, he said in discussions with Gordon Strachan, he sees like an old firm manager's lifespan in some respects. Not personally, but the length of being a manager is like 5 years. So 3.5 against 5 against 20, So questions asked. I'm not sure. The point Krauski was making about next season going to be a tough season. Now that's a good point because Neil Lennon himself has stepped up gradually each season, and certainly last season, as we all know, we've got into the next step, the last 16 of the Champions League. So it's going to be difficult to top that or whatever, So it is a good point. How do you top each season? But that is the objective, isn't it? Gradual progression, so he's on the right track. The other thing is he's a major Hun scalper, so we'll always
Which
enjoy
always
that.
helps, Tony, doesn't it? It always helps.
Aye. I mean that in a broad sense of things. That they hate him because he batters them, So that's that's fair dues,
Yep.
In terms of his behaviour, I would always like to see improvements there. I mean, I speak even for myself in that regard. But as you get older, you do kind of mature and that. So you're hoping for the same for the manager,
Yep.
And I don't know. I just the whole thing, the whole debate you were having there about his future and all, it hinged for me on the point that you made, Kevin, and that was it's up to he himself. What does he think? Will he go those 5 years or will he stay on for those 20 or whatever? Only time will tell, I suppose. I like him well enough, and I'd like him to stay. Yeah. The reason I asked it actually was because it was mentioned on CQN last night.
Okay.
Celtic Quick News,
Yep.
And there was just a wee bit of a discussion about if he's an attack-minded manager, or is he too defensive, or is he, I don't know. But I know that he himself, Lenny, replied to various commentators saying that he scored quite a high number of goals, certainly at home in the last 10 games, whatever. It's a fairly high number. So
yeah, well,
we'll see what happens. Only time will tell.
He certainly didn't score them right enough because he was never the greatest of goal scorers, Mr. Lennon. But I remember that screamer he scored in the 8-0 victory at East End Park.
Dunfermline.
It was. Yeah.
Remember that screamer he scored? My God, he enjoyed that, didn't he?
Was another thing about Lenny was I used to wonder he kind of walked a bit funny. I used to find that he walked or he played a bit funny or funny. He kind of waddled along, but I was reading his book before and he had a very serious back injury, as a young player, and actually nearly put him out of the game altogether. But he had major operations and he managed to come through it. But the posture was still there from the operation and that, so that explains why he kind of goes along like that. But no, he's a good lad.
Krowski, Krowski, in fact, listen, it was you're retweeting this, so seeing as you're on the call, mate, you read it out for us, please.
Good old Celtic servant, aka Jake the Snakes on Twitter. Some of his stuff's brilliant. Charles Green, I'm staying until I hear Champions League blaring across Ibrox. I was in quotes. Celtic Park must have new speakers. Yeah, honestly,
that's a classic.
It's the gift that just keeps on giving. It's absolute. I think I'll miss him. I'll miss him.
Oh, well, listen. I mean, we'll miss him as much as we miss Craigie White as well. Sure, there's going to be another Muppet's going to step in as well. Again, it's the green, the white, and we only need the Lex Gold to come in and do something in there now, and we've got the old tricolour.
You need to pick up the new guy's accent, mate.
Oh, now then, young man Krowski, I don't want to hear that from you. I'm staying until I hear the Champions League blaring across Ibrox. Oh, Christ almighty.
I'll tell you something, did you listen to
that was Juventus,
Graham from Beyond the Waves? Did you hear Graham from Beyond the Waves, his accent?
No.
Sorry.
Aye, Krowski, I heard that. That's unbelievable. Man, he's putting on a Scouse accent. Oh, it was nothing like it, man.
It was disgraceful. Graham Wilson, if you're listening to this...
Graham, if you're listening, that's shocking, man.
That is dreadful. I couldn't even...
Scottish accent?
Oh, it was terrible.
Scottish accent? Oh, I'll need to listen back to that now.
No, it
was a Scouse accent.
A Scouse accent?
No. I've heard people say it was Scouse, Scottish, Mancunian. It was actually kind of a Yorkshire accent, but everyone kind of really pinpoint what it was. You know what I mean? But it was definitely it was kind of on his challenge. It was kind of on his challenge game, so he was. And it was.
No, his Scouse accent. He was doing the stuff about Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard taught that was quite funny. So anyway, look, I'm not sure we have to wind this up or not, but this is well. Let's just do one very. The two biggest things that's happened in Scottish football this week we haven't even spoken about. One was the restructuring of the Scottish League, but let's not talk about it because it didn't happen, and we've been here for about 4 hours already. Mm-hmm. I'll just do a yes, no. Let's go round the guys and see what they think. This new supposed singing section at 122, I think it was. Will it happen? Or has no one heard of this? Is it just me?
No. I think it will. I don't want it to.
Yeah, just for anyone who doesn't know about it, it seems to be, I guess, the suspicions that it's a club-led thing to form another singing section in the stadium, but you could say a political-free singing section, so it would only be Celtic songs. So I don't know what's, the Braskin...
Basically, there'll be hand-picked supporters in quotation marks put there, and they'll have a song list that they're allowed to sing.
Yeah.
And it'll have the atmosphere of a bloody Sunday school picnic.
See, from that respect, see you saying hand-picked, do you think they'll actually be getting reports, they'll actually getting references from Plod to see if they've had any previous?
That'll be it, exactly. That's exactly what will happen, Krause. Pat had said, let's have a chat about this tonight. I hadn't even heard about it, guys, but I get limited time during the week to catch up on what's going on back there, but I hadn't, in all the feeds that I follow and stuff like that, and I hadn't even heard about this, so it was news to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if the club are trying to do something. If they are, I think it's pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah, it's only going to work if the fans are behind it. The club can push it as much as they like.
Yeah.
But the rest of the fans are basically, a huge amount of them behind the Green Brigade already, so I don't think they're going to take too well to the club telling them, we're going to do something else.
Well, Jim, see, this is the thing I'd fear. I'd fear the fact that it would be some sort of division in the support.
Yeah.
You know, we get some people following, I want to be, I can't remember what we're calling them. There was apparently a section there called the Comrades or something.
Yeah.
I want to follow the Comrades. No, I'm going to follow Green Brigade. I just think of things like, I think that Paris Saint-Germain have that sort of division. I think there's 2 sets of supporters or something like that. One of the French teams.
I think that's more very, very political, though, the PSG stuff. My understanding of that is you've got
I'm not saying
ultra left wing and ultra right wing factions and stuff like that. I don't think our support's divided like that.
I don't mean it like that. I just mean the fact that they've got a division in their own support. I just hope it doesn't happen that way. I mean, as somebody tweeted during the week, that the more singing sections, the better. But you don't want a competition, if you know what I mean. It's like they should be working together.
Let's face it, at the end of the day, you want one massive singing section, and it's the entire stadium.
Well, that was my first thought. Why don't you give the next section to this group of supporters? And I find it very odd. I hope it's not true. I don't want that sort of division in the club personally, but I guess we'll see how we go.
Did you read in terms of? I read it from Talk Celtic, and it was saying. We don't want this, we don't want to sing this song because that song is affiliated with Green Brigade and so on, and that's where they're talking about the division. Right, see if there's a group of Celtic fans, right, see if it was like us, okay, right, our fans we just go and we'll sing along, that's fine, but see if it's hand-picked people to go into a section, and then they're going to go, well, no, we don't want to wear colours, we don't want to do that, because it's associated with Green Brigade. Well, that's wrong, so fans are specifically told, no, you're not singing that because that's affiliated with that other group. That's wrong.
Yeah. You don't mind having another group of fans singing, but I don't think you can have the PLC picking which ones are in favour and which group they're not in favour of. I don't think it'll never. Yeah, I know it'll never work if the whole stadium's behind both groups of fans. They're no divided.
You never know, mate. You might get to a stage where, like, for instance, you've got Paddy the Cops feeding an army, right? You could be the Green Brigade start it, and they're putting off the other section, and obviously they're bouncing off each other that way.
That would be brilliant. That's them no fighting each other. Yeah, But I'm more scared of just like the Celtic board going for this new mob, basically trying to shift the Green Brigade out, and that's the scary bit.
So maybe what you're saying, Kralski, is that to be politically correct, you'll have the Green Brigade singing Paddy McCourt's Fenian Army, and the other section will be singing Paddy McCourt's Irish Republican Brotherhood Army. But who knows? Right, listen, Pat has said, and I'll be honest here as well, see, usually when we try to bring this thing to a close, it still rumbles on for 20 minutes, so I'm going to now put the foot down and we are going to try to wrap this up, but we have not touched on something that, well, we did touch on it earlier on very briefly, but this could be a very significant and important weekend for us, gentlemen, because in a matter of not too many hours' time, we could be crowned champions again. But failing that, if Motherwell don't beat Dundee United, or don't beat Dundee United, do beat Dundee United, then it all comes down to us on Sunday to see what we do against Cali Thistle. We'd obviously need to lose against Cali Thistle for us not to be crowned champions. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly, and then I'll go around you all again for just a little bit of, you can give us an update on anything that's happening in your part of the world, but I'm going to go around who's left on the call just now. So Pat, I'm going to come to you first of all, and I'm going to ask you, first of all, do you want us, would you like Motherwell to win their game against Dundee United, and what do you think the score will be in our game against ICT on Sunday?
I think the obvious answer for tonight is obviously not. You'd obviously want to win it on your own patch, and I think it was even Scott Brown.
Some people might want just to win it as soon as possible, but
I can't really see that. But
it's not often you're cheering on Motherwell, is it?
No, not at all. But I think you'd hope in some way, shape, or form that Dundee United are a bit flat after last weekend and stuff, and Motherwell just pick up the game and win the game for us. So, but let's face it, Stuart McCauley ain't going to do us any favours. So, in terms of the score, Again, it depends what it is. I reckon we could do another Kilmarnock from last year. We could absolutely smack them.
That'd be lovely.
But I mean, bear in mind,
give us a score then, Pat, because I need to note these all down, because whatever's the common theme, that's going in my correct score bet tomorrow.
I'm going for, I reckon Inverness will score. I reckon, actually, here we go, 5-2.
Oh, Christ, right, I'm
5-2 win.
I'm putting a line through that prediction right away.
5-2, we're going to win
Right, okay, that's right, you've said it.
It's guaranteed.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Tony, I'm going to come to you next, mate. So, first thing about our Motherwell going to win later on tonight. On what's the score going to be against Cali Thistle on Sunday?
Motherwell will either draw or will get beat. I think. I don't know. Just guessing.
So we're going to be crowned champions tonight, is what you're saying?
Aye, 10 o'clock on about 7.5 hours. I'd actually prefer them to get beat anyway, because I'm not free on Sunday, so I'll be kind of missing the match. But so if they win, if they get beat tonight, if we win the league tonight, I can have a pint and celebrate, you know. So that'll be good. But obviously, from the fans' point of view, you'd probably like to win it in the stadium, Celtic Park. But the other point is, if we win the league tonight, then maybe a few young players might play on Sunday, you know. So that would be good. Yep. And the other one you were asking, Kevin, is what the score is going to be on Sunday. I think it'll be 3-1 for Celtic.
Good. I thought you were going to say 5-2 again there, and that was another tally mark there. 3-1 for Celtic. Right, thanks, Tony. Jim, if I can come to you now, please.
Yeah. Same. I think, most of us had hoped that we have to win it on their own patch against Inverness. And I was thinking along the same lines that, God, it could be another Kilmarnock last year. I know it'll be 6-0, but I do think we'll maybe hit 4 past them or something. I really, I mean, you want it to be like that, but I really think it will be a party. I really hope so. So I'm thinking 4-1, maybe something like that. 4-1, 4-0 maybe.
Okay.
It'll be one each.
It might not matter, Jim. It might not matter at the end of the day. Kralski, what about yourself? What do you think?
I'll just throw this other retweet in, right? Just before I go. Major shareholder steps down. Who will Craig White fire next?
Give a shout out to who tweeted that.
Marcus67.
Good on you, Marcus67. We like that.
I know the boys had a bit of illness, so all the best to Marcus67 if he's listening. Okay, I would prefer to win at Parkhead. Obviously, you would. I think Motherwell and that will drop points. I think Motherwell will drop points today. I think
so.
I'm going to play.
You reckon we'll be crowned champions tonight?
Aye. I think we'll be crowned champions tonight.
Yep.
I think old Jackie Mack will do his turn. And then come the score, I think I'll play it safe. I think it'll be 5-0 Celtic.
Playing it safe with a 5-0 victory.
I was actually thinking 6-0.
Right.
Maybe not. I think also Kelly last time, yeah. See the set, looks as if it's going to be a good Australian summer's day in Scotland.
33
quite
degrees?
nice.
33 degrees?
Maybe half that. So it's going to be set. One of the glorious sunshine days at Parkhead.
That's really
Same going to be bouncing. Team's going to be bouncing. Attacking free football. Tell you 5-0 Celtic.
5-0 Celtic. Right.
What to do? See your bet. Just stick on Celtic -4 or something. Celtic -4, Celtic -5, and you can't go wrong.
You know what? You might not get a great price for that, mind you. You might still not get a great price for that. But for what it's worth, having listened now, I had formed my own correct score view. I was hoping a few you would get close, but Jim, I must admit, you were there or thereabouts with what I've got in my head there, because I'm thinking I want Motherwell to win tonight, but like Kralski, I don't think they will. I think we'll be crowned champions later on. But when it comes to our game against ICT, I think it's going to be 4-0 to the Glasgow Celtic. And it's going to be party time. It will be 3-0 at half time. We'll get another one in the second half with about 5 minutes to go. And that will just set the party in full swing. that's what's happening, lads, and that's where my bet's going. I'm not taking account of anything you guys have said. My mind's made up, and that's where my money's going tomorrow. No comment from the no comment from the panel. Big Kev's talking shite again.
No, I think you're talking perfect sense.
Good on you, Jim. Good on you, mate. Now listen, guys. The final thing I'm going to do before we can wrap up, when we do wrap up the show tonight, folks, we've got a little tribute to a lady that passed away recently called Anne Williams.
Anne Williams, yeah.
She was a mother of one of the victims, I guess, in the Justice for the 96 campaign. She just passed away yesterday, I believe. So there's going to be we're going to play out the show with a little tribute to her. So I just wanted to introduce that very briefly. But what I'd like to do, guys, as well, is just go around you all finally, just for some final words, some final thoughts. If there's anything going on with your supporters club or your neck of the woods, or you just want to give a shout out to somebody or whatever.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, Tony.
Kevin, there's a match tonight in Glasgow at 7 o'clock at Firhill. Celtic under 20 against Dundee. 7 o'clock, Firhill.
And that'll be free to get into Firhill for Thrills, won't it, Tone?
That's the one, Kevin. Yes, indeed, free.
Excellent. Right, so get yourselves along there. You've got plenty of time to prepare. Anything else, Tony, you'd like to say, mate?
No, just thanks a lot for the show. I mean, just not only today, but ongoing. So far, it's been excellent, and I'm really looking forward to hearing one or two more shows in the time to come. So it's top quality. Well done.
Good on you, Tone. Thanks very much for staying with us the entire show. We actually had, for those listening in, I guess, myself and Pat were going to be kicking off the show, but we thought, no, there's Tony's available. Let's get Tony in straight away. I wasn't sure if you'd hang about or not, Tony, so thanks very much for staying with us the entire 2 hours 52 minutes that we've been going for, because it's been a
no problem. I've got a big beard and all that here, man. I'm starving, fading away a mountain. Very good. No, at your service, lads. Anytime. Great to help. It's for all the Celtic supporters, so it's very worthwhile. It's fantastic.
Good on you, Tony, and thanks again for your contribution tonight. It was excellent. Jim, I'll come to you. You came to us late in the show this evening, but you certainly were contributing. Yes. Right throughout the show with your tweets, mate, and it's always great to see them as usual. Have you got anything you'd like to say, Jim, or is there anything going on in your part of the world or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Nah, no really. I try to listen to the show when I can. This is actually the one night that me and my missus actually go out and have a baby, so I told her we couldn't go out the night. I try to just listen back to it because I miss it, but no, it was good to come on and talk to you, and yeah, it's a good show.
Good on you, Jim, and thanks again for getting on tonight as well. I know you were trying a bit earlier on, but we managed to get you on. Managed to get you on eventually. So thanks for your contribution, Kralski. What about yourself, sir? Have you got any shout-outs or anything you'd like to say?
Well, just the usual. Cheers for having us on. It's good to have a wee bit of debate. It's good show, lads. Good show. No, I'm just looking forward to you boys having a wee bit, seeing a bit more of Tom Rogic. Hopefully the boy gets a good few games before the end of the season. And I tell you something, he's got an absolute diamond of a chance of getting into that final. I mean, Wanyama, Kyle suspended, Scott Brown's a bit touch and go. You're next in line with Tom Rogic. Unless they put Charles Crew in midfield, which I hope they don't.
It's a good shout. It's a pity you brought that point up now as we're closing the show down. That would have been another 45 minutes discussion, especially from Pat, because Pat loves the guy. He loves him.
But thanks very much for having us on anyway, lads.
Nah, good on you, Kralski, and thanks very much for coming on as well, and your continued tweets and your support, mate. It's great to have you on. Hopefully we'll get you on again as well sometime. Patrick Close. I'm going to come to you now, mate. Pat, what would you like? First of all, how have you found tonight being the man in charge of pressing the buttons and things and
it's a
sorting
bit-
out the audio and things like that?
It's a touch nerve-wracking, got to say. I'm busting for the toilet, and I hope my PC's just holding in there. So yeah, and I can see, just looking at the time, we probably just went a touch over that 1 hour limit. Just a touch.
Just a bit, mate.
So we're now
2
officially at
hours.
158 minutes, about 159 minutes for the podcast. So
Yep.
if anybody's actually reached this point at the end of it, fair dues to you. Really, it's credit where it's due. That is just anyway.
In old money, that 158 minutes. In old money, that's 2 hours 55 minutes, Pat. 40 seconds.
No. What? No, it's not. What are you talking about?
That's what it is, mate.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the school you went again? Are we getting back to St. Pat's, are we? Dear. Right.
Now, listen, what's going on with the Jockstein CSC Melbourne?
Yeah, we had a reasonable turnout last Sunday for the semi-final, so hopefully a few guys can get down and catch a game at Pint on Punt in Windsor, in Melbourne. So Sunday night's a pretty busy night in the pub anyway.
Yep.
Lots of guys heading down to St Kilda and stuff like that. If anyone knows Melbourne, it's right at the sort of top end of St Kilda. So it's just try and get along to a few games. There's mostly sort of Sunday night games for the rest of the season, so it'll be normally around 9:45 kickoff.
Yes.
So if anybody can get down. Yeah, so it's not the worst time in the world, but better than the 2 o'clock in the morning cases we normally get. So hopefully some people can get along. That's probably pretty much it. Just the stuff playing out at the end, and again, I may well stuff this up, so hopefully it works all right. But this was, if you heard the last podcast, what we had was a thing about Celtic legends, Celtic heroes, that sort of thing. Well, I think this woman was a legend that never actually played the game. So I've sort of watched some of the articles on YouTube and stuff, and it brings a tear to your eye, the stuff she went through. So we just thought, it's not so much a tribute, I guess, just a thanks, I guess, for someone like her for being so strong and fighting for a good cause and all that. So justice for the 96.
I wish you're not pressing the button just now, I hope, because you've not let me say my shout out for the Mandurah Celtic Supporters Club.
No, I haven't said anything. I haven't done anything, Kev. It's fine. You're cool.
That's good.
So, Kev, what are you up to, Kev? What are you
Thanks,
sort of
Pat.
doing?
Thank you, Patrick. Well, funnily enough, you should ask, Pat, because this weekend, of course, the Mandurah Celtic Supporters Club, the fairly newly formed supporters club in Mandurah, Western Australia, shall be meeting up yet again for our third game together as a supporters club, and we're meeting in Friar Tuck's is the name of the pub. It's in an area of Mandurah called One and Up. We've got a lovely guy down there by the name of Ray O'Hanrahan, who's the manager and the owner of the place. He's a County Cork man. He's I wouldn't say Celtic's his first love or anything like that, but he's certainly a very, very welcoming host, and he's certainly starting to have a little affiliation for us, that's for sure, because the last twice we've been down there, we've had a real good sing-song when we've been down. So anyway, that's where I will be watching the ICT game, 7:45 kick-off Sunday night, our time in Western Australia, which is not a bad time to watch it. The only pity is I'll have work on the Monday morning, but no, hopefully we beat them 4-0, because that means I'll have a few more quid in my back pocket as well for spending behind the bar that night. So yeah, I'll just give a shout out to the Mandurah CSC. If there's anybody in the Mandurah or South Perth area, or wherever you want to be honest, if you want to come along, you'll be made more than welcome there. We'll look after you. And we'll have a good little party night, hopefully, on Sunday night. So that's pretty much all I had to say. So now, Pat, I will hand it back to you. You've already kind of introduced this last little segment, but if you want to say a final few words, and then we can you can press the button, mate, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, hopefully I don't stuff this up. So, fingers. Is it actually still going? Is anyone actually listening to the podcast? Do we know? Do we know if we're on air or not? I don't know.
Well, we're pretty much there for 3 hours now.
Well, it's been good chatting.
Yeah,
good chatting to 2 or 3 guys. Yeah.
And thanks to everybody that called in earlier on as well. We had Craig on, we had Madam/Vmar/MA/ I wouldn't say her real name. We had Jim Rennox on earlier on as well there. Have I missed somebody? I'm sure I have.
But anyway, thanks to everybody that contributed to the show tonight. And Pat, take us away, mate.
Thanks, boys. See you all.
Hail, hail.
Anne Williams, whose fight to overturn her son's inquest verdict helped lead to fresh hearings on the Hillsborough disaster, has died of cancer. She was 62. Her teenage son, Kevin, was one of 96 Liverpool fans who died in the 1989 football tragedy.
But I think it's going to be a few years of. But I'm hoping now that people are listening and the truth's coming out. There's a lot more to come out yet, because Hillsborough is a horror.